But my beats, they are hard.
All right. Hello, good evening. Special Monday Night Live edition of the BCSN SportsWrap. Brian Fulford joining me tonight, none other than J-Dub, Jamie Walker. How you doing, Jamie?
I'm good. What's going on, sir?
Man, it's feels good. Feels good to be on the air with you. Just saw you just this past week, so it was good to lay eyes on you. Good to see you doing well, looking good and everything. Jamie, I hear your summer is over.
Yeah, man. It is correct, man. It ended last Friday, but it's been crazy.
Back to the grind. Shout out to all the teachers in the is it just the Atlanta metro area, or is it the entire state of Georgia?
Definitely the metro area, at least, man. There's some different calendars all over the state, but yeah, we're primarily back at it, man. It's weird. It is weird being back, but it is what it is. You know how it is.
Right. Well, shout out to all the teachers back on the grind. My days are I'm on the countdown myself, man. I'm counting down days. I'm already in a mental mind space of thinking about it already. So I'm right there with you. So and yeah, so the teachers already back. Kids actually show up to school when?
They will be back Monday, man. Yeah, they'll
next Monday.
Be back Monday. Yeah. It's crazy, man. Yeah, it's hard to believe.
Yeah, well, hey. Get them kids. I know a lot of families are gonna be happy to get them kids off the couches and off the video games and eating up all the snacks and drinking up all the juice in the refrigerator. Man,
that's right. They can go back to using their school stomach.
Exactly. School stomach and going to bed at a reasonable time instead of hanging out until God knows when.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, say hello to everybody. Thanks for popping in and watching the show. Appreciate everybody for joining us again. Say hello to everybody watching on YouTube and on Facebook. Maybe one of our YouTube pages you're watching us on, the JBN, on MyJBN Online, of course, Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page, the parent company of the Black College Sports Network. Or you could be on our BCSN SportsWrap page as well. Facebook, Black College Sports Network, and BCSN SportsWrap. We say hello to everybody there. Say hello to everybody on Instagram Live and on X via the Black College Sports Network. Please make sure you're following us at MyBCSN1, the number 1. Already say hello to HBCU Band Talk for jumping in. Thank you for being a subscriber to the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page. We say hello to you. Mary 305 also jumping in. We say hello to you. Good to have you in early. Well, Jamie, I know. I tell you, Jamie, when you kind of get into a mode of doing something on a weekly basis, and when you don't do something, I felt bad. Like I felt bad not doing the show yesterday because there's no sleep right now. There is so much news and information, and it's just so much going on. And I was like, man, we got to get on and do a show tonight. Just even if it's, because we didn't do one yesterday. And we've got, obviously last week we had the SWAC and the CIAA media days. Then upcoming tomorrow is the MEAC football media day, which is the last of the 4 conferences. So what we'll do tonight is we'll sort of recap last week, look ahead to tomorrow and this week. Also coming up in hour 2. Jamie, are you a gamer?
Not really, man. Not really. All the talk going on, but
did you used to be a gamer?
Yeah.
I thought so too. I used to be a gamer, right? And so, but I didn't stick with it, and so I kind of checked. Obviously, a lot of us grew up playing the EA college football. 10 years ago, right? That was like some of those. I still have that disc somewhere floating around. I don't even know what.
Oh wow!
I can play it in. I don't even know what I can use it. Maybe it's just a collector's item. I don't know. But anyway,
that would be what the youth would call vintage.
Exactly. So I have obviously the EA College Football 25 dropped about a week ago. Then they dropped in the Dynasty Team Builder mode several days later, and that has really caught a lot of buzz because a lot of HBCU teams have been able. You've been able to build them into the game because obviously they didn't come as part of the game originally, but people have been really creative in terms of building it. And I've seen some great imagery, and I think you have too online of people who are doing some really cool things. I've even seen TSU, Tennessee State football. They've been really great about tweeting out like images, video images of their team, showing the team playing at Hale Stadium and some different things. So it's really given us that vibe. And so coming up, I got my guy Nick Dixon, former wide receiver from the national championship FAMU football team. He's one of the guys that I've been paying attention to, and he's been putting together like this super league. Like he's basically built a custom 16-team conference. Jamie, you talk about stirring the pot. We've had them conversations about super conference so many times, right? So Nick has put together the super conference, and so he's going to come on and kind of help. I know that I've had some people hit me up on X. How do you do that? How do you play? People who want to get in because they see this and they want to kind of relive those days from their youth, whether it be 10, 15, maybe even 20 years ago, right? So he's coming on in hour 2. He's going to break it down for us and kind of give us sort of a product review. That's kind of what I told him. I said, Nick, we just want you to come in and give us a product review, so on and so forth, right? So we got him coming up. I want to say hello to a few more people. Rick Body, thank you for coming in. Appreciate you. Appreciate you recognizing. D-Lob 2010. I did used to play Pac-Man. Yes. You can't go wrong with the arcade Pac. Whenever I see the arcade Pac-Man, I just have to stop and play a game or two. I just have to. I don't get very far, but you still gotta play, right? It's just a statement. You do. Yeah, gotta play. Jeff Roberts checking in. Aggie Pride. Yes, indeed.
Aggie Pride, sir. Aggie Pride.
Good to see you, Jeff. Thanks for checking in. Jeff's heading to VBS. That's another thing about summer. Why is VBS always at the end of summer? What is it about VB? I just always notice that. Why is VBS towards the end of summer? Anybody?
I don't know. That's actually a great question. Because it is. And seemingly, maybe it's a good foot leading into the school year. Maybe that's the reason.
Okay. I like that. I've noticed that because I noticed, it's always towards the end of the summer. It's never like at the beginning. Maybe rarely it's in the middle, but it always feels like it's at the end of the month or at the end of the summer, and it's like, okay. But anyway, shout out to Jeff. Okay. So let's kind of get into a few HBCU news and notes from the get-go. Jamie, I think this is second week in a row. I feel like big stories just seem to kind of hit us over the head. And as I've said, and I feel like I said this last weekend, some good, some bad, some sad. So before we get to the sad, we'll get into the good. Who knows if you consider it bad or not? But the news came out, what was it, Sunday, that President Joe Biden decided that he is not going to run for re-election. And I think that's the first sitting president since Lyndon Johnson, 68. I should know that. I better know that. I'm a history teacher going to teach U.S. history and government this year. I better know that, right? Yeah. 1968, the last time a sitting president did not run for re-election. Well, of course, what that means is, that's right, that means Howard University alum and Alpha Kappa Alpha
Sorority Incorporated. Yep.
Vice President Kamala Harris is now the as was endorsed by Joe Biden. It'll be interesting to kind of watch. She's the next woman up, so to speak, for the Democratic Party. And it'll be interesting to sort of watch the political process and see, will the Democrats step forward and move her into the ticket? Obviously, with her being the vice president, part of the ticket, she has access to the war chest, that Biden had raised, which I heard was like a couple $100 million, something like that. So as you can see, VP Harris tweeted out, on behalf of the American people, I thank Joe Biden for his extraordinary leadership as president of the United States and for his decades of service to our country. I'm honored to have the president's endorsement, and my intention is to earn and win the nomination. I love that sentence. Jamie, what's your thought there on VP Harris or Soror Harris in some people's circles, and what this does to the election process that's upcoming?
I love it. And not from the standpoint of President Biden having to step down. I think a lot of factors went into play when it came to that. I also think the power of media you can integrate as well, as far as not necessarily being forced, but definitely having to hear the echo chamber that is social media and other media as well. But for the opportunity for Vice President Harris to be in, it's significant. As an HBCU grad, I'm already, supportive of what she brings to the table, and just looking forward to seeing what occurs. Even though I know some of that is going to be looked at a certain way. You're going to see some vitriol. You're going to see some nasty things come out of this entire election, as you've already, kind of witnessed in the last couple of days. But it goes along with any other, political race that goes in. So good luck to her. I'm definitely, all ears when it comes to just, what will go on and transpire with this particular race. But this is an interesting time in American history. It just is. American political history in general, if you just follow everything that's transpiring from a political standpoint. But looking forward to seeing the organization, as if you've had your ears to the ground already, in the quick announcement and galvanization of people already in her camp. This is going to be interesting. It really will be.
I'm curious to see where she goes in terms of a running mate, and also some of the names have endorsed, and I'm still I'm still waiting to see, Jamie, will another Democrat be, watch this now, be encouraged or maybe take it upon him or herself to enter the race? You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Because I think it's, you know, if the party wants Harris and believes that Harris has some momentum behind her that apparently Biden didn't, then they wouldn't want to ruin this moment, right? And I think the proper endorsements are out there. The Clintons, I noticed, and unless correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't seen anything from President Obama yet,
which is unfortunate.
Is he missing the moment? Is he missing an opportunity?
That is disappointing to me. So disappointing. I don't know if it's strategic or if it's, I'm just not sure, but you're seeing a lot of endorsements that have already come up and endorsed. And if I'm not mistaken, it's been reported that he endorses more of an open candidacy towards this. So, wow. Now, I'll only say that it's reported. Maybe something else has dropped before then. Again, I've been, under a rock all day for the most part, and hadn't looked at much news. But I'm not sure if he's endorsed her yet. But yeah, that is both interesting and disappointing to me. And unless some other clarifications come in as to why, I'm curious to see how what occurs with that.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'm very curious as well how our community treats this and responds to this, because I think what's interesting about this political season, and I'm really going to be, one of the cool things I said, I get to teach a government course, right? So this sort of is a great season to teach that, and I'm optimistic, a little nervous, trying to figure out where to go with this year, because obviously I'm teaching older high school students, upperclassmen, so you want them to be engaged in the political process, but I also want them to see through the stuff, and I'm not so much, look, I don't want to be directive and say, hey, this is who Mr. Fulford, Coach Fulford thinks you should vote for. I want you to see it. And also I want you to see it outside of your parents' view, because we grow up with our parents' perspective on politics, right? Much like sports. I mean, we grew up, our parents have certain teams and things that we grow up on. We sort of navigate towards that, or we go to opposite just to be spiteful, right? So we, like if your dad was, or your parents was a Cowboys fan, you might become a Redskins fan. Who knows? Just depends on how you feel. But
exactly,
same thing is true with politics. Because of there's so much noise and so much information, misinformation, clickbait words, and we have somebody who has become a master at the hot take and the soundbite, right? It's hard, I think, to kind of really see through and say, well, what does he or now her, what do her or their policies mean for me? What will it mean to my family? And I think that's where we have to really look at this political season and ask ourselves that. I noticed I have a good friend, Mr. Campbell. Obviously, many of you know Stephen Campbell's a part of various chat groups. I saw him tweet out something called a thing that's being hosted, I think, by Roland Martin this evening, called Win with Black Men. It's sort of a thing that's happening, and I, look, there's going to be groups again that are going to galvanize you and say what you will. There's a lot of people who will have thoughts on how this political season goes, and I hate to say the group that shouts the loudest will be the group that gets heard. But now it's very important that your vote, that we go out and vote. And Jamie, I was even encouraged by another content creator, Mr. Vaughn Wilson of HBCU Game Day, to create a PSA message about voting. So I'm working on a script. I'm going to send it out to everybody in the BCSN family, and hopefully I can get everybody to record a PSA message, just a general get out and vote message, because I think when we have this platform now, it's incumbent upon us to use our platform to encourage people to vote. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but it's important to kind of encourage people to get out and vote and be a part of the process, because not being a part of the process is, I think, worse than the belief of who our options are. I hear that a lot. Oh, I don't like our options, so I'm not going to vote. And I'm like, nah, I don't think that's the message that we want to send, especially when it gets into more local political matters. So, we'll just leave it at there. We'll put a pin on the on the political talk. But I figure, seeing as how we have an HBCU grad that's running, a member of the Divine Nine, and one of the lead sororities in this country, I figured it's important. It's going to be one of those talking points within HBCU circles. So definitely want to talk about that. All right. Well, moving from some good news to some rather sad and tragic news. Grambling State athletics released just a couple days ago on Sunday news that former Grambling State University women's basketball star Jasmine Boyd passed away over the weekend. Boyd was a member of Grambling State women's basketball team from 2015 to 2019, was one of the best women's basketball players to ever step foot on the GSU campus. Her accomplishments included being named the Southwestern Athletic Conference Freshman of the Year in 2016. She followed up that stellar season by earning all SWAC honors in 2017. In 2018, she helped lead the Lady Tigers to a SWAC tournament win and a trip to the NCAA tournament for the first time in nearly 2 decades. Boyd also scored over 1,000 points during her collegiate career. A quote from Vice President of Athletics, Dr. Travion Scott: "We are deeply saddened by the loss of our former women's basketball student athlete and GSU alumna. Our thoughts and prayers are with her family, friends, teammates, and all who were touched by her remarkable life. We ask for everyone to keep the Boyd family in your prayers during this very difficult time." And I did read an article or a post from HBCU Game Day that although it wasn't confirmed, it was reported that there may have been sort of a vehicular related accident that led to Boyd's passing. Jamie, I feel like this summer, feels like every weekend we've sort of been hit with some very sad news. So I'm going to give you any comments you want to share or reflect on the news of Miss Boyd's passing.
You hate to see any kind of tragedy happen, just in people in general, as a humanitarian, but just it feels like it's been a lot of even active students. I know the student at Fort Valley, the volleyball player here in Atlanta, was a tragic situation that was, in that case, uncalled for. So you hate to see those kinds of things happen, but prayers to that family, and everyone take care of each other as much as we can, because we never know the moment. We just truly never know the moment.
Well said. I hate doing these opening segments with these sad news stories, but like you said, yeah, it is a reminder to hold on to your, give your family and your friends a call. Pray over them, even if they're not around, even if you hadn't talked to them, and because you never know. Last week we talked about we talked with a few people who had spoken to Kobe Jones, and a few days later he was gone. So yeah, it hits us. It hits us, and it's always tough. So, and here's a young lady, much of her life in front of her. Prayers and condolences on behalf of the Black College Sports Network to the Boyd family and to Grambling State Graham fam, and we'll close the segment with a moment of silence for Ms. Boyd, and we'll come back on the other side of the break and get into talking about our review of the SWAC and the CIAA.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. BCSN SportsWrap. Brian Fulford, Jamie Walker here on a Monday night live. Want to encourage you, if you are joining us via our YouTube channel, our JBN broadcast channel, I want to encourage you to go ahead and hit that join button. Go ahead and join and be a part of the Black College Sports Network family. Your donation helps support everything that we're trying to do. If you caught our live coverage at the SIAC or the SWAC, it helps us get to those places and hopefully some more places. Looking forward to doing some things in the upcoming fall season, but help support Black media, Black-owned media, HBCU media right here with the Black College Sports Network. And so you can join the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube channel right there, MyJBN online/join. Okay. All right, so SWAC and CIAA happened over the weekend, or last week rather, almost to the day. Out of all look, Jamie, we've kind of talked about SWAC, but so we'll kind of we'll kind of get into little SWAC talk. A lot of stuff came out of the SWAC. What's maybe there were news and notes. There was stuff related to football, stuff not related to football. Of all the stuff that was presented in that 24, 48 hour period, what was something that kind of caught your attention and your eye? That was like,
wow. Listen, I think out of that time, a lot of it. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, I'm good.
Okay.
No, the screen went off of my computer.
Okay.
You know what? I think one of the biggest surprises were the standings. To be totally honest with you, because it could have easily gone chalk. A lot of it, but what it ended up being was Alabama State being chosen first in the East. Like that was one of the biggest shocks. Only because the defending champions are right there. You know, as much as the Jackson State contingency is there, they're right there. So that was one of the biggest shocks for sure. I guess the other one would be from a business standpoint, the SWAC Digital Network, you know, putting out these games. Hey, look, it's something that's probably been needed, and I love the vision and the direction. So kudos to the conference, man. I mean, you know, those kinds of changes, you never know what comes from it, but I think it's some good moves so far.
Yeah. So I was trying to. Oh well, I'm having an issue. I was trying to pull up my file that I had of the standings, but yeah. I mean, let me see if I can pull it up here. Just to recap, people have kind of talked about it already. Let me see. Where is it at? Damn. I'm looking at the site. I see maybe it's under just preseason selections in general. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, Alabama State. Now, Alabama State first, followed by Florida A&M, Jackson State, then Alabama A&M. All those 4 teams received first place votes. Alabama A&M actually receiving 4 first place votes, more than Jackson State. Then you had Bethune-Cookman, no first place votes. That was interesting, but Valley did. Again, leading me to my conspiracy that somebody from Valley, I don't know if it's the coach or the SID, somebody's voting for Valley. I'm sorry. I'm just or that's somebody.
Listen, if you don't believe in yourself, who else is gonna believe?
Well, you're not supposed to vote for yourself.
I know.
That's what they keep telling me. So I guess somebody believes in them, right? Okay. Then over on the West, you had Alcorn, which they were surprised. Look, as much as I'm not surprised that Alabama State was first, because I thought one of the 3 teams would. Bama State, Jackson State, you know, and I could understand the reasoning why someone might have picked Alabama State. But Alcorn definitely surprised me. I mean, if you picked Alcorn 1, they have a new coach, even though he was on the staff. You know, relatively a new quarterback, presumably a quarterback who didn't start the majority of the season, right? What's the difference between Alcorn State and FAMU? Right? I thought Prairie View, who finished second in the voting, returns, you know, the one of the coaches who's been in the championship game the last couple seasons, and Bubba McDowell, right? I thought that would be enough to get him there. Anyways, Prairie View is in second. They got 8 first place votes. Grambling third, Southern fourth, and then UAPB and Texas Southern 5th and 6th also get first place vote. Now you mentioned the SWAC Digital Network, right? And one of the things I've been doing over the last day or two, Jamie, is I've been putting together this super matrix that basically is a TV schedule matrix. Because I already had the matrix of every game. So then I've gone through and I've looked at every matchup, and I've been hunting to see where these games are going to be. We've got HBCU games that are going to be on the ESPN Family of Networks, HBCU Go. Then you now have the SWAC Digital. You've also got the CIAA Sports Network. You've also got the NBC Sports Family. And then you got games on the NFL Network. You're going to have games on the Big Ten Network. You're going to have games on Flow Sports. I mean, Jamie, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 8 different networks, right? And when I go and look at the SWAC season, when I games that are going to be nationally televised, what I see is I have a color. I mean, it's amazing. At first, when I saw that, speaking from a Florida A&M fan perspective, I saw that, hey, all 12 of our games are going to be on national television. Well, then when I did this matrix, I said, hell, we really aren't. As I go through the list, Alabama A&M, all their games. Let's see. Jackson State, all of their games. Valley even has a large number of games. I mean, Valley has at least 11, all but one game that I can confirm on national TV. Alcorn State, every game. Grambling State has one game I can't confirm yet. Prairie View has every game on the block. Southern has a couple of games I can't confirm. Texas Southern, Jamie, every game. I mean, and hey, speaking of your Aggies, your North Carolina A&T, every game, every game on national TV. I mean, bro, we think about where we grew up 10 years ago, or just think about when we were in college and how hard it was to watch games. Now you're going to have a generation growing up when the access and the ability to watch HBCU football is all over the place now. That's amazing, dude. That is amazing.
Listen, this was the dream, man. This was the dream. If you didn't catch the BET special on tape delay, you had to hear about it.
Yes. I mean, but it was like appointment television on a Saturday afternoon, especially if you were in the barbershop. If you were in the barbershop on a Saturday afternoon, look, the barber had the game on, right? The barber had the game on. And but man, we have come so far. And I've, like I said, there's a few games here or there that haven't been. Now, when we talk about the SWAC games, I've only found, we talk about what the HBCU Digital Network is sort of filling in the gap in between HBCU Go and ESPN, right? I've only found 2 SWAC games that are not on and I'm talking SWAC, meaning SWAC v SWAC. Only 2 games that are not part of that schedule, and that's the 2nd and 3rd weekend of November. It's a Southern Bethune game and then a Southern UAPB game. So those are right now the only 2 games that I haven't been able to confirm whether they're on ESPN or right now they're not on the HBCU Digital. But I did hear Dr. McClellan say that with the digital network, they wanted to make sure that what gets broadcast on the digital network, which if those of you aren't familiar, that's via YouTube basically, has the same kind of quality and the same standards that is going to be broadcast out on ESPN or HBCU Go, meaning you're going to get, 4, maybe 5 camera views. You might get replay. You might get the first down marker, all of those things that you're sort of used to. So that way you're adding to that coverage. Now here's something that look, G Boom, love you. Thank you for coming in. G Boom says these games are not on national TV, but on some type of streaming service. Now, I am not one of those people, Jamie, who I don't want to use the word snobbish, but I'm not going to be an elitist about what is national TV and what is not, because
I knew where you were going with it. But yeah, go ahead.
I don't think we can do that in this day and age where everything is on this bad boy right here. I mean, even the national TV stuff I can get on here if I really want to. So are we really going to make that big a fuss about streaming versus national TV? I love you, G Boom. I'm just pointing it up because I know your comment is something that a lot of people say.
Yeah, it really depends on the production. I think a lot of people misconstrue, not even misconstrue. It's more so they feel that the production on the cable networks would be different than the streaming services, and in some cases it is. It's just basically where you can catch the game. And I've been telling folks for years, anybody that would listen, the business of sport is interesting. But when it comes to fans and their level of interest, it all depends on where you see the game. As long as I can see the game, like at the very end of the day, as long as I can see the game, and if it's clear, yep, exactly, Chip. If the video quality is good, it'll show up on my TV well. That's all typical fans care about. And as long as you have the opportunities to be able to see the games, I think people have grown accustomed to now. Initially it was like, okay, I'm tired of having to have this stream, this and that to be able to watch the games. I think people have grown accustomed as they've gone into the Hulu and Netflix world of apps to watch stuff. If the NFL can do it, we can do it.
Amen.
We have to do it.
Yes.
Literally we have to, because they've caught up with the madness. And of course, people consume, especially football, at the rate of, okay, just where is it? I'll pay for it. That's where we're at now. So in the midst of people consuming football at the rate that they are, why not the conference actually showing the rest of the games that, those that don't have a contract with the conference? Hey, why not find a place to go watch it? People have been clamoring for that. We're amongst discussions when it comes to making money off our content. So here's the next level for the conference to do so. Now, what that turns into as far as dollars and cents, hey, that's left to be determined. But at the same time, if I want to catch a game, if I want to see all the games, in the conference, I can.
Yeah,
I can at this point. And even with the streaming services, you mentioned my Aggies. Got to talk a little bit about this local TV deal.
Yes.
Even within the confines of being under Flow Sports, was able to secure a local TV deal for a year, which something that conference allows. So, the business of sport continues to show itself, and I mean I love it.
So I love that, and I love first off, shout out to whoever runs the social media for North Carolina A&T Athletics, because when this came out, so what Jamie's referring to, and I'm gonna read, I found it right here. So A&T Athletics Sinclair Broadcasting Group announced linear TV agreement. So the Sinclair Broadcast Group will broadcast all 5 A&T home football games, right? The games will air on WMYV, which is My Network TV. Fans can also find the game on cable channels 15, HD, 1215, and over-the-air channel 48, where 4 of the 5 home games will air live, with only the Aggies game against William and Mary on November 2nd, tape delayed and scheduled to air later that evening. So I had let me see if I can find if it's in the tweet, because I had tweeted out what did I tweet, Jamie? Because I wasn't really,
I want to say you tweeted.
I wasn't being,
I think you either that or retweeted that. Yeah, I think you retweeted it or asked a question. You retweeted mine, a quote tweeted. What does this basically? What does it mean? Or really, or that you could do this through Flow Sports. And whoever's behind the social media at A&T Athletics clarified why you can do it. As long as it's within the range of 150 miles,
Right.
the 150-mile radius, you can have, the conference allows local media deals. So, outstanding.
Outstanding. Which look, I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna say it loud. Every conference should be allowing their schools to broadcast games either via linear means or with as many providers as they can get their hands on so that their content gets out. Meaning, if your conference and their agreement, and I'm going to say it like it is, there are agreements out there with ESPN, there are agreements with HBCU Go. If your game is not being streamed by one of those two entities, it should be open in an open marketplace for that game to be picked up and produced by that school. And it's shameful. It's shameful. I'm going to get on a soapbox here. Watch out.
Go ahead.
It's shameful that conferences are holding a gun to the head of schools. And I said it just the way I said it. Holding a gun to schools and threatening them with financial penalties if they choose to go outside of the contract. Now, that's all I'm going to say, and I'm going to leave it at that. It's shameful. It's despicable. And so I think, I think what I think is also interesting here is G Boom brings up this point here about schools were already doing streaming. I think what's interesting about this, Jamie, is a lot of schools were charging pay-per-view. SWAC Digital is free. Much like the CIAA Sports Network is free. You can watch every game in the CIAA. You've been able to for the last couple of years.
You can watch it later. Now, the initial game the day of, I do think you is behind a paywall. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think the Saturday of, they do have a paywall. I tried that a couple of times. I wanted to look at a couple of failed
I thought it used to be. I thought it used to be free. The CIAA. You're talking about the CIAA, right?
Yeah, CIAA network. And they run don't get me wrong. I love just easy or just
easy.
The way you can just easy. The CIAA TV network is brilliant in that you can see everything, all the schedule, click, pay, watch,
right?
Versus other stuff. So there's some more difficult paywalls or difficulties with other streaming services. But I'm not gonna say who, but I got into some conversations with some people, and this is not necessarily. It's good, but for some entities that were selling advertising on their own or things of that nature, what I hope is that they are being reimbursed for the money that they're not getting based on those games being taken away from them and being put on the digital streaming network. So we'll see. And to kind of piggyback off of what you said, yeah, it is shameful that people that have been in the game for a long time are being shut out because of hoarding content. I just got to be keep it a buck.
I mean, it's like what are we doing here? And so you've got schools that have and let's not even. I'm gonna put this out there too, Jamie. Great that the SWAC Digital Network is doing this, but I'll tell you what, there is more content and more inventory. And guess what? Fall sport, volleyball.
It is.
I haven't seen a blip on the radar about. Look, you're like me. You're like there. Hey, I hadn't heard anybody talk about volleyball and the lack of volleyball coverage that I know that we were providing. When I say we, Black College Sports Network, but I haven't seen any announcements about volleyball. I know HBCU League Pass Plus has done some volleyball matches with the HBCU AC. I got to get it right now. Right?
That's right.
But so the schools giving over those broadcast rights where they were behind a paywall, where that now you're giving the game over. So I mean, a lot of those schools weren't giving the financial numbers anyway, Jamie, but
right.
It is interesting to hear or find out if you can get to the right people and kind of find out, well, what kind of concessions, or has there been any concessions that the conference is giving to the schools, whether it be because look, there's advertising. You're crazy if even streaming, if you're not going out and selling advertising on these games and running commercials in between, you're missing out on sponsorship opportunities. Now this is one thing I don't know, Jamie, is going to happen. The chats, look, just because you leave the chat open, Jamie. If you're the SWAC Digital Network, do you leave the chat open or do you kind of close that off?
I love HBCU trash talking. I just do. That may be the I love it, but I think there are people that take it too far. And at the end of the day, as much as I don't want to call them kids, quote unquote, you're kind of at that level where, are you sure you want to leave it open so much for people to talk? And maybe you have somebody that regulates the conversation. You know what I'm saying? There's somebody that's guiding the chat.
Yeah, you might need to. If you're going to leave it open, you got to have somebody as a moderator, because
you better.
Yeah, you better, because first off, if it's not some kind of spam thing that might drop in some chat bot, those are
worst.
Annoying. The worst is, you might get some people in there saying some stuff that they don't need to. So I
bet the mortgage on this game, they better win.
You know what? That is that's mild. I'm okay because that's just normal talk. But it's when you start bad mouthing when you get in there and start bad mouthing the people, because inevitably somebody's mom and grandparents or somebody's family is watching the stream, and then you jump in there because you got, oh, this coach don't know what the heck he or she's doing, and that's ridiculous. That's when stuff starts getting personal. So you have to have, I know it's, most of it is civil, but there's always room for ridiculousness to jump in. I agree. You got to have someone monitoring.
Absolutely.
If you're gonna open the chats, you got to have a moderator, at least somebody. Now, that's just more money that you gotta put into it. Let's get into talking about the CIAA. Transitioning over. CIAA was the day after SWAC Media Day. There's the predicted order of finish. Now, this was not too far left of what we thought. The defending champs are Fayetteville State. They finally broke through and won the championship last year. Predicted third. The team that won the championship was it 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
No, wait a minute. Am I backwards on this?
Yeah.
I'm backwards. Virginia Union won it last year.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm all confused.
I want to say Fayetteville State won it last year.
Okay, and Virginia Union won it the year before.
And then both of them went to the playoffs
this past year. That's what it was. Okay, right. Okay. Both of them went to the playoffs this past year. And so they finished predicted second and third. And Virginia State, who was actually they had an 8-2 season. Unfortunately, they just missed out of their season of making it to the playoffs. So Virginia State predicted first, Virginia Union second, Fayetteville State third. Johnson C. Smith, that's the team who got the invitation to the bowl game, the postseason bowl between the CIAA and the SIC. And then Bowie State, who for much of the past decade under Damon Wilson, of course, had been the standard. They had been the staple and standard. As you can see, the CIAA moving away from divisions. That's the first thing I noticed, Jamie. No divisions. Mm-hmm. So you get two teams of the Old North, which that would be a championship game. If it plays out the way it's predicted, the CIAA championship game in Salem will be between Virginia State and Virginia Union 1 week after they just played each other. How about that?
Yep. I'm telling
Right?
you, man, it's a possibility. It's a heavy
All right.
possibility. I would
All right.
also say that about the Fountain City.
Thank you, Roy.
Okay.
We were back.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's right. But it's Fayetteville who had been to the title game for so often. And 2 years ago, they had won the title finally. And Virginia Union was the team who actually, yes, because I remember Virginia Union got upset 2 years ago and missed out. And Fayetteville State ended up beating Chowan, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, there it is. Okay, so and so there's your top five. Now, I don't think, Jamie, outside of the top five, I'd be shocked if somebody outside of the top five makes it to the championship game. When you look at the predicted order of finish, what are your thoughts, and does this kind of align with where you thought this might go, or something else?
You can make the argument that Lincoln, PA should be maybe a little further up. Isaiah Freeman at the quarterback position gives them a really prolific offense. But I also think you can't argue with Winston-Salem State, even though, losing Chris Barnett, doesn't help. But otherwise, I would say that's about where you could expect it to be, even though Bowie State probably has something to say and may take that ascension back up under Kyle Jackson. They've been chomping at the bit, but they have been down the last couple of years. We'll see if they can, at least jump Johnson C. Smith. Maurice Flowers has done a phenomenal job with the Golden Bulls.
Yeah.
Coming from the SIAC, he's done well. And really has taken that program in a direction that really no one has in the last few years. So kudos to them. We'll see if they can make, jump Fayetteville State. Richard Hayes has always had the ship steady, but, for some reason at the end of the season or, offensively, they've always worried me as far as being able to score points, but they've always played really great defense. So I think maybe Lincoln, PA can show itself to be at least within the top half. But, with St. Aug not being in there this year and them going divisionless, this is going to make for some interesting football in the CIAA.
Yeah, you pointed out St. Augustine is not so there should be 12 members, or usually there are 12 members. This year, due to financial reasons, they are not fielding a football team. They are participating in volleyball.
I gotta give them. I gotta shout out this news. I don't know if everybody heard the decision about their accreditation being reversed, so they will continue to be accredited for the time being. Yeah,
That's
so
good.
so
That's
great news for them.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. But one of the scheduling dilemmas that I still have not been able to answer is, in a year where now everybody plays everybody, or at least everybody plays 8 games, or at least was scheduled to play 8 games, the fact that St. Aug is not on the schedule actually affected 2 teams this year, as Fayetteville State and I believe it was
Might have been Shaw.
Was it Shaw?
I'm not sure though.
2, 3, 4. No, it wasn't Shaw. I think it might have been it's 2 teams. Was it Lincoln? We talked about this, and I forgot to look this up. It was Fayetteville. Fayetteville State is one team that only has 7 conference games. And I think it is it's Lincoln, PA. Lincoln, PA is the other team that has 7 conference games. And I didn't hear in the CIAA media day, I didn't hear anything surrounding that. So will it come down to win percentage? Will win percentage be the determining factor of who goes to the CIAA championship, because obviously Fayetteville State is a team that looks to be in contention, right? And in a second, when I went and looked at, well, okay, let's just break down these top 5 teams, right, Jamie? Obviously, who plays whom is and where they play them is going to be very important. And when you have a Fayetteville State that only has to play 7 conference opponents, well, win percentage wise, they sort of have a little advantage, I think. And so it just didn't work out. The schedules don't kind of sync up where Lincoln and Fayetteville State could play each other unless they were to have already scheduled it for, say, week 0, like, the 24th of August, because the bye weeks are all kind of in order. Now, other schools were able to get replacements for the St. Aug game. I don't know how that worked. I don't know how, I can do some math, but I can't figure out how they were able to figure that out. And it just so happened that 2 teams were affected and didn't get a replacement. But let's take a look at the top 5 teams, Jamie. When it comes down to the top 5 teams, I think what's interesting is going to be interesting is saying who plays whom, where, and when. And as you can see, the only team that plays the other 4 teams in the top 5 is Virginia State. Now, the advantage for Virginia State is 3 of those 4 games are at home against Fayetteville, Bowie, and Union, while they play Johnson C. Smith away. Now, Virginia Union is, I think, the interesting case, Jamie, because they play all 3. They play 3 of the other 4 top teams all on the road, which they did this 2 years ago. And that was a team that went undefeated until they kind of stumbled on the last week of the season. So Virginia Union is not unfamiliar with this, right? But Johnson C. Smith away, Bowie away. Of course, the rival game against Virginia State is away. Take a look at Johnson C. Smith, Jamie.
Yeah. I was looking at that.
3 to 4 games. Now those are 3 tough games. I mean,
they are.
Keep it real. The 1, 2, and 3 teams, Union State and Fayetteville State. Look, if you want to get to the conference championship game, Johnson C., you got to beat 2 of those 3 teams. You really do. Flat out. And then not stumble against somebody like a Shaw or Winston-Salem State or somebody who many people don't predict to be in the top 5. Any thoughts as you look at the schedule there that I put together of what it looks like among the top 5 teams?
Yeah, Johnson C. Smith has a great opportunity. If they do want to jump in that upper echelon, this will be the year to do it. You got, essentially your hardest opponents at home. So if you think you're home, if you think Betty's Ford is rocking, and you think you can get those 3, hey, this is your year. But for Virginia State, I think this is they're being picked to win the conference. This is their year to do it. This is their year to do it. And I think it will go a long way. That victory against Norfolk State last year showed me some things. They were playing Trojan football. So I want to see if they can, jump into that, top tier, that top spot of the entire CIAA.
When I listened to the coaches talk with, I believe it was Stan Verrett, I found it interesting that Fayetteville State, okay, starting with them, as you can see, their toughest games there, Virginia State away, Bowie State at home, and Johnson C away. And, of course, they're only playing 7 conference games. The question was posed, here's a team that defensively was one of the top 3 in the conference. Good defensive team, always been a good defensive team, good program. Offensively, though, they were 10th, I think, or 10th overall, 9th in conference play games, right? And outside of what they do on special teams, which Coach Hayes, Richard Hayes, was talking about how he really preaches and puts an emphasis on special teams, which is why their special teams has historically been so good, or at least it keeps them in games, wins games, maybe even for them. But they do have a new offensive coordinator. And if Fayetteville State can, if they can do something with that offense and just be I don't even think they got to be tremendously better, but just maybe halfway better than what you were, that's going to be a tremendous advantage for them.
Fully agree. It's really because you're almost, I hate to use the word surprised, but you're almost, in awe of how they could just continue winning, scoring the amount of points they score, especially towards the end of the season where it gets cold, of course, but just putting up 15 to 20 points and somehow being able to reel off victories. Hey, it's a formula for it, but when does it get to the point, especially in the playoffs, does your inability to score points, a lot in the clip, get to you? So I'm waiting for one of these other squads to be able to say, you can't out offense us, so we're just going to get this victory and take you out. One of those, teams under them, the 4th and the 5th slots, be able to do that to a Fayetteville State squad. I'm looking to see that happen this year. But if they have a new OC, you can already tell that they are paying attention to that as well. If they can score more points, that defense has always come to play. We'll see if they can, continue that success at the top of the conference.
And Virginia Union, speaking of the Panthers, 9 returners on defense, had one of the best defenses in the CIAA a year ago. We know now, look, Coach Parker flat out said, we have not just the best running back, Jada Byers. He said, we've got the 3 best running backs in the conference. So when I look at Union, and I'm going to tell you, Jamie, on September 7th, when they travel to Hampton, the Pirates better watch out. That is going to be a great game. I don't think anybody's walking into that game thinking, "Oh, this is a D2 versus a FCS." Nah, I think this is understand. I think this is why I had that game kind of circled as one of my games of the year, because the rivalry of just the area where those two schools are and where they recruit out of, and I think the world of Hampton. I think Hampton, even with the new coach, has some talent, especially in the quarterback and running back position. But Union, if Union can pull that win off, and that's the same week, Jamie, that Virginia State is playing Norfolk State. I mean, just think about how big that is for the CIAA and for the Division II schools on September 7th, right?
Huge
weekend. Some other non-conference games, and I think Virginia State, I don't know if Dr. Frazier is playing possum, but he was speaking of the fact that, hey, we're missing so many people, and they did lose some key defensive players to the transfer portal. So he's one of those. He doesn't even believe that his team should even be predicted first. He think that's all based on people not really knowing who's coming back. So I don't know if he's just they say selling. I don't know. Are you allowed to say
wolf tickets?
Yeah, wolf tickets. Thank you. I didn't. Mm-hmm. I would almost say something else, but who knows? I won't get canceled. Is he selling wolf tickets, or what's he doing with that game, or with that predicted order? Any other non-conference games? I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the schedules of teams. Any thoughts on some non-conference matchups that kind of intrigue you about the CIAA this upcoming year?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think there's a rematch of Virginia State and Norfolk. We talked about that. They got beat last year. Me and you went to the MEAC SWAC Challenge conference press. Oh, not conference, but challenge presser. And Dawson Odoms is ready to exact some revenge this year with 19 starters. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see how that operates.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. That Norfolk State situation. We're gonna talk about them later.
Oh yeah. So looking forward to that matchup.
Johnson C. Smith versus Johnson C. Smith opens their season with a pair of SIAC matchups, which I think are interesting. They play Tuskegee in the Red Tails Classic in Montgomery, and then they travel to Morehouse. And so, I think that's pretty intriguing. Winston-Salem State traveling to play your Aggies. That game will be on Flow Sports, Jamie. A little bit of I was talking to Stephen Gaither. We were talking to Stephen Gaither. Both you and I were after that. And and that was kind of interesting. That game, there might be one of those sellouts for A&T, but is it a financial gain for Winston-Salem State? Maybe not.
Listen, you signed the contract. You signed the contract.
Made a mistake signing that contract. Yeah.
I mean, stuff happens, but yeah, it'll be interesting just on the standpoint of the game happening. It's a good, I-40, contest where they'll travel and it'll be some trash talking. Hopefully everything is good. No, nothing crazy, but it is a heated rivalry. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. And I don't think Winston-Salem State is a bad team either. I think they'll be improved. My Aggies have a lot to prove, but I think, we should still win the game just, based on the divisions right there. But yeah, Winston-Salem State's not coming to just lay down, especially with that, being on their shoulders as well. So we'll see.
As we close up this segment, because our guest is in the waiting room, give me your CIAA championship. Best record, best two teams this year. No more divisions, so it's just the two top teams. Who's in your championship? Who do you think makes it?
This is crazy because I think I love stepping out on a limb. I'm going to say Virginia Union versus Johnson C. Smith by default, because I think Virginia State's going to win the first matchup. Virginia Union's going to win the second one. I think they play each other in the championship game. And I think Johnson C. Smith jumps Fayetteville State. Oh, excuse me. Let me rephrase because I got one too many games. Yeah. I think Union ends up playing Johnson C. Smith in the championship game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I'm of the same thought process. I think even though Union and Johnson C. Smith play each other, I think Johnson C. Smith has to win 2 of the 3 games there, right? So I'm going to give them 2 of those 3 that it'll take. And so I think that'll be. I'm going with you. I'm going Union and Johnson C. Although I will not be surprised to see Fayetteville in the championship game again for like the maybe seventh consecutive year.
It feels like it.
It feels like it's either 6th or 7th, right. And so that's kind of where we're going to go. Okay, coming up after this short break, Nicholas Dixon, former FAMU wide receiver of the national championship team from a year ago, is going to join us. He's going to give us a product review of the EA College Football 2025. And we're going to talk to Nick and kind of get a vibe of this whole game and just kind of figure out he's doing something really unique in putting together a super conference. And he put it out there and got people signing in to participate. And man, it sounds like fun. Might make me get back into becoming a gamer, Jamie. I don't know. I need. Yeah, I know. Where am I going to find time to do that? What am I going to not do if I choose to become a gamer? I may never sleep. But anyway, We'll talk to Nick coming up here on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap. We'll be back in just a moment.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan Fulford, Jamie Walker. Joining the show now, Nick Dixon, former FAMU wide receiver, alum. What up, champ? How you doing, man? Good to see you again.
What's up, guys? I'm doing good. I'm sorry I was late. I just got off work, actually.
That's all right, man. That's all right.
No problem.
Hey, can I share the news about what you do now? Because you're still revolving football. Can I share?
Yeah,
or
you can share.
Yeah, so good to see that Nick is still staying close to the game of football. He's actually coaching. He's actually got into high school coaching. Godby High School, right?
Yes, sir. My old high school.
His alma mater right there in Tallahassee. So Nick is giving back to the youth. And, of course, he's still pursuing his dream, trying to get into the professional leagues. Plenty of opportunities out there, but no better way than being out there as a coach and giving back. So, man, thank you for taking time. So look, I saw. So first off, Nick, let's just talk about, before we get into talking about the college football, just kind of let people know what have you been doing since graduation, since walking across the stage, putting that ring on your finger. Just let people know what you've been doing over the summer.
Well, I would actually say I walked across the stage last spring, so I was one of the guys what they talked about. I got to graduate before the season. Sorry if I sound hoarse. It was raining outside at practice today. But I graduated last spring, got to play the season. That was good. Trained for pro day, did pro day, had good feedback from a lot of people. Basically, they want more film. So I'm trying to get into the UFL. I've been working out, training. I kind of work out with some of the kids in Tallahassee. I go up to the turf, train with them, work out with them. Marcus Riley, whenever he's in town, he'll give me some drills from up there. We work out all the time. I've known him for a long time. Got into coaching. Coach John Holston, he coached at FAMU 2022. He was an assistant at FAMU. He's the head coach at Godby now. Coach Antonio Carter, I'm always grateful for him. He made a call. Coach Holston hired me on the spot off Coach AC's word. So went up there. I've been working with them. I love it, really. My dad was always a coach. My dad coached since I've been born, So coaching is really fun. I got a 4-star. Well, not me. We have a 4-star receiver at our school. Tylen Vickers, he's really good, real great kid, great athlete. Got a kid, probably he's going into the sophomore year. He might really be one of the ones to a kid named Jay. He got offers from all over. So it's really fun helping the youth and playing with them. And it's funny because I was up there the other day. We had a full paddock camp. One of the kids pulled up showing me a video from me in high school. He's like, I knew this is you. And it was kind of funny. But I really just been working out with the kids, and I've been training, staying in shape. You know, the hardest part about trying to get into the UFL is it starts in the spring. It's a spring league, so you have to go a whole year without playing. So you have to stay in shape. So I've been training with Travis Norton. He's a local guy. He's really big in training. He's a great trainer. Speed. He'll get you right with speed. He'll get your body right. He trains all walks of life people. He trains athletes. He trains police officers. He trains whoever wants to just get better. So that's really all I've been on, man. I just been training, working out, and working this job and playing the game. Obviously, I've been playing the game too. I love my game.
Hey, look, Jamie and I were okay. So the game, just in case anybody doesn't know, this EA College Football 25 came out, and now, first off, because we old heads over here, Nick. But see, we remember the previous version, which it was like a decade ago. Do you remember the previous version? Okay,
Look, when I was 3 years old, I remember playing the game with my dad because I have two older brothers. I have an older brother that's 6 years older than me, and I have an older brother that's two and a half, really 3 years older than me. So I've always played it. One of my very first memories is playing with Reggie Bush in the back with my dad. Because I'm big on this, and my friends will tell you, excuse me. I like playing on the same team with people. Because I grew up in a house with 3 boys. So we always had to share the game. So I remember when I was a little kid, my dad used to play with us. And we had like a little adapter you could plug into the PlayStation 2. Or the first PlayStation you could plug into the adapter. And I remember my dad was playing on the O-lineman. One of my brothers was playing as Matt Liner. I was playing as Reggie Bush. And I forgot who my other brother was playing. I've always played this game. Because I remember when they had a 2K version of it. And I think in like 2005, it was like NCAA 2. It was like college football 2K. So I've been waiting for 10 years. I've been waiting just like y'all for the past years. I'm not that young.
All right. See, I wish I had enough people in my house to do that adapter. When I heard they could do that, I always wish I had more people in my house that we could do that, where you could put different people in different roles. You know what I'm saying? That's how you really do it.
My parents got 3 boys. There's 3 of us, so we were always playing together.
That's how you keep people from beating up the game and having to play these rules like what we had in college, Jamie. Like we had these 21-point rules, and it's like, hey, 21 points, got to get off the stick, baby.
Pass the sticks. Yep, pass the sticks. Absolutely.
So, talk a little bit about the game, the 25 version. Maybe give us some just the basic reviews when you first off, what system are you playing on, and then just kind of give us a little bit of the review if you would.
So I play PlayStation 5. I'm gonna be honest, I really like it because I feel like it gives the most realistic look to a football video game because there is a talent discrepancy within the football. So back in the old games, you remember you used to be able to grab a real bad team and just go anywhere. You could play Alabama. Like you could grab Akron and possibly beat Alabama. Right now, you're not going to grab a team that's really bad and beat a really good team. And in real life, I just want people to know I played college football. I'm not at the highest level of college football, but it would be far-fetched for me to say FAMU would go beat Alabama. Now, I like my guys over anybody, but it would just go beat Alabama. Back in the day, you could do that on the game. Right now, you can't. But it's a much faster game. It's fun because I have a lot of friends that still play college football that are in the game. Shout out to all the kids from Tallahassee that are in the game. It's fast paced. I love the movement of the game. It's not.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
Can y'all hear me?
Sorry, yeah, we got you.
Yeah, we got you.
I'm gonna tell them to call my other brother. I'm gonna tell my brother to call him.
That's all right.
Hey, call Chris. Reggie. Can you call Chris for me? I'm on the podcast. Could you call Chris? Call Chris. He calling me. Could you call him? Thank you so much. Sorry for that, y'all. This is the real life of Nick.
It's all good, bro.
Basically, I was talking about the movement. The movement of the game is more realistic to me because at the NFL level, I don't really feel like there's a huge talent gap. So, Madden, I feel like in Madden, the games were too even. And I say that as you wasn't gonna have a receiver that could just it wasn't many receivers in Madden that could just take over a game. I can go play with who's an example of a wide receiver in college football right now. I can go play with the kid at Arizona, the tall kid, number 4, and I could take over a game with him. I can go play with Travis Hunter at Colorado and take over a game. In Madden, you can only take over the game with a few people. Like you can take over the game with Tyreek Hill. You can take over the game with like Devontae Adams, but you can't take over the game. You can't take over the game with a lot of people in Madden. So I appreciate the fact of I like that you can have an overpowered team. I like that you can do that. As far as some of the things I don't like, and it is true, tackling in college football does need work. It's a lot of times in college football, a lot of people do miss tackles. It's a way more explosive game, and you get that feel for it in there. So a bunch of the people that are complaining about tackling is not about like there's no way people just be missing tackles. I want you to go watch a college football game. I want you to count how many tackles you see that are missed in a game. And you will realize that, yeah, there are a lot of people that miss tackles. A lot of people take bad angles. Dude's not going to take a perfect angle every time. And people talk about how Jalen Milroe's overpowered in the game. Look, I know Terry Arnold. Terry Arnold he's a guy who he gives credit when credit is due. He tells me straight up, Jalen Milroe is Jalen Milroe. So everybody complaining that Jalen Milroe is overpowered. How do you think Auburn and all those other people feel when they play him in real life? So the game right now for me, it's a 10 out of 10, honestly.
Hey,
it lags a little bit or it crashes because, it's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people playing the game. But other than that, I love it. I love it. I couldn't ask for a better game, honestly.
That's a good product review right there. Milroe, by the way, one of my Heisman sleepers for this upcoming year.
Audio cut out. I can't hear you guys. I can't hear you guys.
You can't hear me?
Hold on, I can't hear you. I don't know why I can't hear you.
Okay, we'll give you a second to kind of figure out.
I'm gonna leave and come right back. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, so Nick's gonna come back here in just a second. And I know Jamie's still with me, but he had to take care of something on the video. So one of the things that I know is happening here. Again, EA came out with the game, and Nick is back with us. Nick, you back with us?
It was probably because my brother had called me. That's probably what happened. But I'm back. Yeah, it's a great game.
Yeah. So the game came out probably about a week ago, almost to the day, maybe last weekend, and then it took him about 4 or 5 days before they added the team builder feature. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, the team builder feature is something that is especially important to the HBCU diaspora because we aren't a part of and not just us, but I think there were no FCS teams in the base package, correct?
No.
Okay. So the team builder option is where when we used to go do dynasty modes back in the day, that's what that feature is. Talk a little bit about the team builder option, and then I know you put together a nice picture which I pulled, which shows the conferences that you ended up doing. But just talk about the team builder option and what kind of time went into creating not just one team. Like obviously you probably went in and made FAMU first, but after you made FAMU, what went into the next components that you went with?
All right, I got to shout out Kamari Young. Because back in the day in NCAA 13 and 14, I used to always make Godby High School. I used to make all the high schools in the area. And for my road to glory, I would always import them all and I'd play it. So I'd play my career as Godby and I'd go to college. And I've told y'all before, I never saw myself going to FAMU. So my brothers play at Florida State, so I used to always play at them. But when I got to FAM, it kind of bummed me out that I couldn't play with FAMU on the game. And, the game was gone, but at one point it was still active that you could, on their site, that you could make a team for the whole game. So I've made FAMU before. I have like older models I've made. So the day that team builder dropped, it was probably like 10 o'clock at night. I was on the phone with Kamari and I was like, all right, so you're going to help me? He was like, I got you. So I made them, got to the very end of it, and I couldn't save the team because I actually made it Florida A&M. So for all the people that feel like we're not going to be in the game, EA Sports has the copyright to all the FCS schools right now. So at one point later on, they will add the FCS schools. And I want people to understand the problem with it right now is to be in the game, you have to be a full scholarship player. Full scholarship players are the players who have the option to opt in. At the lower level at D1 FCS, a lot of schools don't have the money they have to just give a kid a full scholarship. So you pull money from different places. So a kid may not pay for school, but he may not be on 100% football scholarship. So they're trying to work around that so that they can get everybody in. But I made FAMU. The first combo I made the all orange with the orange helmet. Then I made the all white. Me and Kamari were trying to figure out because we wanted as many combinations as we could. And me and Kamari, I don't like the basic white pants we have. So for the all white uniform, I put the championship pants. That I did an all green uniform, and I was like, wow, we only have 2 helmets. So I'm finna get to design a new helmet. So I went with a green chrome look. It was a green chrome helmet with an orange chrome face mask. One Rattler helmet on one side and a number on the other side. And I made them both, made those chrome. I designed a gray uniform with the white helmet with the green face mask, because we have those. And I did an all black uniform. After that, I built a Morgan State, Central. I did a whole bunch of schools. But other people did schools too. So I felt like mine wasn't the best version. I would go get whoever built the best version and I'd download it. So I had an idea and I hit up I hit up Scotty from Oxford. I DM'd him. I said, hey, are you interested in being in an HBCU dynasty? He said, yeah. I was like, all right. I was like, I know you have a big following. Like I have a good Twitter following, but I don't think I have a big HBCU Twitter following. So I hit him up. I said, hey, could you get this out for me? And I guarantee you a spot in the league. So I tweeted it. He went out, retweeted it for me. And I honestly didn't think a lot of people would gravitate towards it. My Twitter, I have my Twitter on mute right now because every time I I'm sorry for the people that are trying to get in, and I'm trying to work. I'm trying to get it done with everybody. This is all new to me. I've never had like this big of like just a whole bunch of notifications on my Twitter. So like, every time I go to my Twitter, I have like 20, 30 notifications. And it's like, dang, I don't want to respond to one person and one person feel left out. So it's like, right now I have a full 16 team league. I'm probably going to scrap it because some people joined and they're not playing, they're not doing this. So I am going to start a new one. I have the list of teams. I already have a whole new list of teams. I have 16 people that already want to join. And these 16 people I know are going to play. But basically, I imported everybody. I took the lower schools out, and some of these teams aren't even in there again. But
I was gonna say this is a picture of
this is the original one I made.
The original group of 16. First off, Jamie, react to this super conference. What do you think about this super conference?
Listen, I absolutely love it, even though I think Bethune-Cookman is a little too far away from Greensboro. We can switch that up just a little bit, but otherwise, we're good. We're good. You can slap Central, but hey, look, I love the super conference just based on what we got listed here. So carry on. This is great.
I like the fact that you put Valley in there, Nick. So first off, who made the cut? Who didn't make the cut in the second round?
Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I swipe out of this, would it end? Because I have it in my notes. Let me see.
Oh, well, I mean, don't worry. I don't want you to lose the signal. So I mean, don't if you can't record. So let me hit. Did Valley make the cut? How about we go there? Did you think Valley made the cut? Wait a minute.
Look,
there you go.
Valley made the cut only because, and a lot of people will try to trash talk this and say this. I can honestly say one of the hardest places I have played in college was Mississippi Valley.
Okay.
That is one of the hardest places I have played in college. And it's not about the team. And look, Valley plays hard.
They do.
Kids from Mississippi play hard. But look, going to Mississippi, look, you ride through the Delta. The Delta is depressing. You ride through the Delta, there's nothing to look at. We did a walkthrough at Mississippi Delta. We were getting bit up by mosquitoes. The grass hard. You go into Valley. There's no fans. They own students don't go to the game. And it's just it's a drag. It's kind of a drag to play it. The field, not the best. But I remember In 2021, we went to play Valley. What's the kid? Ja'Cory Rankin. He had a great day versus us. He's one of my favorite HBCU kids I played against. But I just remember it was like either first, second, or third play of the game. We went 2 tight ends. It was me and Kamari. I went back. I was playing tight end at the time. I went back to slice on somebody on the backside block. And I'm thinking, man, this Valley, I'm going to be good. And I'm going to be honest, that boy knocked my helmet loose a little bit. I was like, oh, right. So Valley made the cut. Alcorn made the cut because the kid I coached with, a kid named PJ Simmons. I don't know if y'all know PJ Simmons. He played at Alcorn when Alcorn played in the Celebration Bowl that year versus NCAT. The year they lost with the catch or no catch. If everybody remembers that year when they should have threw the challenge flag. So he's in. I have a friend that played at Clark Atlanta. Clark Atlanta is in it. It was a catch. It was a catch. It was a catch. They just didn't review it. It was a catch. Look, oh, you're an NCAT fan?
I am an NCAT graduate.
So bad because I've never lost to those guys. I just wanted to say, I just had to let you know that. Never lost to those guys. That's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. Fayetteville State made it. Howard made it. Fam made it, of course.
Morgan State?
No Morgan State. No Morgan State.
Okay. All right. Who'd you replace him with? Who do you think who would you replace him with?
I replaced Bowie State.
Really?
Yeah, but I like Bowie though. I've liked Bowie State. My freshman year of college, I met it's funny, I met a girl from Bowie.
That'll do it.
State.
That'll do it.
She made Bowie sound amazing. Bowie State was Bowie State. NCAT's in there, of course. I'll give y'all that. Y'all are in there. South Carolina State's in there. I got a kid from Benedict I wanted to play, so Benedict's in there. Okay. I have a friend of mine that coaches at Benedict, so Benedict's in there. Bethune's in there.
Tennessee State out?
No, Tennessee State is in.
Okay.
Tennessee State is in.
Norfolk State out?
Out. Norfolk is.
Okay.
I don't even like. Sorry for the Norfolk fans. I don't like Norfolk State. We went up there my sophomore year. Y'all brought nobody to the game. I don't look, and that's my biggest problem with some of these people in this community. Y'all want people to support, y'all want artists, but y'all won't come out to the games. I want y'all to know the biggest pain of my career was my senior night when I rolled out there and there wasn't that many people out there. But I love Rattler Nation. I still love y'all to death. But it hurt my feelings that y'all didn't come out because y'all didn't feel like it was a great game. Look, when my brother and them played in high school, my brother junior and sophomore year, they were not the best team. But we run out there. Me and my family went to every game, no matter what. Even if you weren't gonna play, we went to every game. I believe I believe in ride or die. I believe in being a ride or die fan if you want to be a ride or die.
Who was your senior night against? Was that the Lincoln game?
Lincoln.
Oh yeah.
It was. I don't feel like it was the best scheduled game, but I still feel like if you want,
you're right. Folks should have still.
Yeah, if you love the singers like you said, you love us like you said. I feel like everybody should have been out there, but that's neither here nor there. You know, who else? I'm trying to figure out who else.
How about Tuskegee? My guy Drew said. What about no thoughts about Tuskegee?
Tuskegee's in there. It's a kid from Tallahassee, Florida, named Malik, number 3. I think he's an all conference player for them. Malik played. I know Malik. He played high school football with me when he was a freshman. Shout out to Malik. I feel like he's gonna have a great year down there at Tuskegee. I think he's gonna do really good things. I'm trying to think.
So let me ask Jamie, jump in there if you got any questions here for Nick or anything about the game.
Just in general, first of all, this sounds like a full-time job.
Not
trying to handle this.
It's not really. It really isn't. It's just this is how I see it. If you hit me up to be in it, and I actually put you in because it's only 16 spots, I need you to communicate. As long as you communicate, I will do the rest. So if you tell me I can't play until 8, hey, I'm at work, because I understand we're all adults. Everybody has jobs. Some people are in college, so they don't have a job. I tell people, if you give me the respect enough to tell me what you have going on, I'll tell you what I have going on, and we'll work with it. What I can't do is I'll put you in, and as soon as I put you in, you just don't respond to no more messages. You just in it. Like, I have a whole group chat for it. I got different group chats. It's stressful when people just get in and then they just don't say anything. So that's probably the only problem. It's not that hard. It wasn't hard to create the teams because you can ask my parents or my brother. Since I was a little kid, I've loved like designing football gear, designing uniforms. Like, I've loved doing that. So it wasn't a problem for me to go in and make teams. Like, A dude asked me to make Benedict. I went in and made Benedict real quick. It wasn't that hard. Like I've always enjoyed doing stuff like that.
So a lot of the shells and skins for every team are already in the system, right?
Yeah, like it gives you a certain cut for a jersey. So if you want to make a Nike team, they already have the design of the jersey, like the cut of the jersey. It's on you to go put the colors and get everything right. Like I think Benedict got stripes on their helmet and they got their logo next to it. It wasn't hard to do that because you can layer it. Like I'm certified in Photoshop. I got certified in high school in Photoshop because I like doing stuff like this. So some people will say it's hard. To me, it's not hard. So It was really easy. It was fun doing. I had free time. Like when I get off work, I'm not a dude that's I like to be busy, to have something to do. I get it from my dad. So it just gave me something to do. Like my mom walked in the other day, I was on the computer. She thinking I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff. Like, Mom, I'm just over here designing teams. Like you can look, I promise. Like y'all can bother me. Y'all come. Like everybody looking at me because I'm looking so focused. Like what are you doing? I'm just designing teams. Like it's not serious. I promise.
Have you ever thought about? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Jamie.
Have you ever thought about taking this next level, like making a career out of it?
Nah, because I know I want to be a football coach. I know that's what I know that I want to be a coach, and I want to. There's a coach that I want to work with. I want to work with Antonio Carter, Coach Carter. Whenever he goes, like for him, Coach Carter changed my viewpoint on coaching, and he changed my viewpoint on being a player, and that's why I was able to have the success I had last year. So I want to. If I could have, I would have worked with FAMU this year, but everything didn't line up the way it was supposed to. And I'm a firm believer in you're where you're needed. I feel like I'm needed at Godby, so I'm at Godby right now. I'm working at Godby, coaching at Godby, but I know one day I feel like I will be coaching at the college level, and I hope it's in the HBCU ranks. And I hope that is with Coach Carter, because I love Coach AC. Coach AC could call me at any time of the day, any time of the night. I'm gonna answer the phone. I'm gonna pick up for him, and it's only because he's the same way with me. Coach AC is. I had a family emergency the week we played USF, and I'm gonna be honest. I want everybody to know I earned my job. Manigo got hurt, and me and him were battling out for the job, but I got the job. And USF week, I had a family emergency that Wednesday. That Wednesday, it was 6 a.m. I remember my dad walked on the field, and I'm like, something can't be good.
No.
So I'm running out. Coach Simmons is like, Coach, I love Coach Simmons to death too. Coach Simmons left. I respect him. I love him to death, Coach Simmons. And Coach Simmons loved me. I feel like he told me, he was like, look, man, he's like, go handle what you got to handle. I love you. He's like, I'll see you on Saturday. So I left Wednesday. We had perfect Thursdays that I walked through days. Team traveled on Friday. I drove down and met them on Saturday. And I had started at the reserve tight end spot before when we go two tights. So this is going to be my first year starting. And I'm like, dang, this is a big game. I'm probably going to be benched. Like, I got a lot going on my mind. Coach AC called me every day I wasn't with the team. I got there. He prayed with me. He talked with me. And I that's the best game of my college career. But for him to have the faith that I was mentally strong enough to go out there and play, that showed me a lot, because I feel like a lot of coaches would just threw me to the side that week and be like, all right, he's a basket case. We can't really work with him. And I'm be honest, the beginning of that game, I wasn't really playing the best either. I had a false start. I had a drop. I had 2 missed blocks, I remember. I blew an assignment on punt. Coach AC came and talked to me. He was like, look, man, he's like, you got to calm down. He's like, I know you. And Coach AC has known me because he coached at Godby. He coached my older brothers at Godby. So he's known. We haven't had a relationship where we just talk, but he's seen me grow up since a little kid. So Coach AC gave me a new light on coaching, because I've always wanted to coach, and the way I thought about coaching was a little bit different. But being coached by him showed me there are different ways to do it. And the way he coaches, I want everybody to know the receiver room. I always have faith in the receiver room at FAMU right now, as long as Coach AC is there.
That's powerful stuff. That's a great reminder.
Yes,
I know Jamie coaches with young people. I do as well. As a great reminder that how we communicate with our young people.
I want you, because look, I was this close to quitting football in high school. I was, just because of I feel like there were some things adults said to me that adults shouldn't have said, but they would say it to other kids, and other kids would take it differently. So you could say I was being soft or whatever, but I believe that you should talk. Everybody doesn't deserve the same message. I feel like you should talk. You should learn your individuals. That's what I'm doing right now with my kids. Some of my kids, I can scream at them, I can yell at them. Some of them I can't. I don't know what's going on in their home life. I don't know what they go through before they see me. And my dad used to always tell me that because I was a kid. I used to mouth off. Some people would tell you I always had a slick mouth, this and that. But I never thought about what somebody's going through before I see them that day. And being under Coach AC taught me that, because that just, I'm be honest, man, he's a really great guy, man. I love Coach AC to death, and he really did show me a lot, because this coaching, I thought I didn't have the patience to coach high schoolers. And I'm learning I do have a lot more patience because of him.
Mm-hmm. True that. Thank you for sharing that, man. That's some powerful stuff. Let me come back to a couple other things here. My guy Dexter asked about in the game. He said, "Why did everybody use Bowling Green as Bragg Stadium?"
Okay, in the game. So in the older games, I bet everybody remembers, you used to be able to have default stadiums. Okay, so I'm assuming, I don't know why, there are no default stadiums. So you have to actually pick a stadium to use. You have to pick a stadium that's already in the game. So people were using Bowling Green because you can't see a bunch of Bowling Greens. I'm losing the word, but their logo, you can't see their logo it's not just all throughout their stadium, like in the stands. I used Arizona Stadium because I like the vision I have for Bragg Stadium is Arizona Stadium.
Okay.
I don't know if my dream is to be the head coach at FAMU. And
hey, speak it.
Man, I have, if it can work, I promise I have a book of plans still to this day. Wherever I go, I have a book of plans wherever I go. But the reason I used Arizona, where their players run out of, which is kind of like our version of the field house, it has stands on top of it.
Oh yeah.
And it's really I believe in having an enclosed stadium, because I feel like there are people that sit behind the Jumbotron still, or can sit up in Village and they can watch the game. I feel like you should pay to watch. I feel like you should have to pay to watch us play. Mm-hmm. So I used Arizona because it's an enclosed stadium. A bunch of people use Bowling Green because they wanted that small school look of a stadium. Okay. There are some people that use Sam Houston because I think Sam Houston has a track around their stadium. So, because when I played a user that had Mississippi Valley the other day. I'm sorry, Mississippi Valley has a track around their stadium. So he did a good job. Whoever made Valley, they did a good job of making them.
Okay. All right. So just final thoughts here. Again, we people who are coming in and joining us, we were talking about the EA College Football 2025 game. Nick Dixon obviously putting in some work, putting in some time.
Oh, and the game. I don't want people to be upset. What I did, I know, I'll say this, stat-wise or player-wise, I know I'm not a top receiver in FAU's history. I put together the best team of some of my friends and players from 2018 to 2023. So when you look on the roster, you will see a number 14. You will see Ryan Stanley. Okay. You will see Jeremy Musa. You will see Rashawn McKay. And you will see Junior Maritovich. When you look at the running backs, you will see Terrell. You'll see Bishop. You'll see Kelvin Dean. You'll see Jalen McLeod. You'll see different running backs. You'll see Chad. You'll see Zay. You'll see Marcus Williams as in Ray. You'll see me. You'll see Marcus K. Dot. You'll see a good amount of people that played. So when you go on the defense, you'll see Zay Land, Savion. You'll see a whole bunch of people that played there. And I had a bunch of people asking me, "Oh, this isn't the team from last year. This and that." Hey man, I wanted to do what I wanted to play with. Because at the end of the day, I didn't think it would get that much buzz. So when I used to make them back in the day, and when I still make them now, I make them cater to me. Now, if you ask me to make you a team, I'll make you one. No problem. Right. Tell me what you want, and I'm not even going to charge you, because I'll do it out of the kindness of my heart. I like doing it. It's fun for me. But when I make a team for me, which I did with FAMU, I put the people I wanted on the team. Orlando McKinley is on the team. Orlando McKinley that played in 2018 was his senior year. He's a dude that took me on his wing. He's on the team. Courtney Cox is on the team at DB. Kendall Bowler, Gyson Bowler, Antoine Collier, Marquise Bell, Javen Morgan, Lovey Jenkins. I got a whole bunch of. I got the best I can think of. I got Eric Smith. I got everybody.
All right. So how do people find you in the game? So when people go online, whether it be now and see this is where I'm showing my the fact that I'm not on the game.
So
whether you have
how they can download the team?
Yeah, how do they download the team? How do they connect in? Do they have to have a PlayStation, or what if they're on Xbox?
No. Look, I will go into EA and change my username. The username right now is a whole bunch of letters. So I will post the username if nobody follows me on Twitter. My Twitter is throw it up to _88 or throw it up to 88. Just look up throw it up to 88 on Twitter, and you should see my Twitter. And I will post a screenshot of the username, and I will pin it. I'll make it so you don't even have to scroll. I will pin it at the top of my Twitter so that you can see it. When you go in to Team Builder, you have to go into like the Creation Center. You go to Team Builder, you press triangle or Y, whatever system you're on. When you search school and type in FAMU. When you type in FAMU, mine has like, last I checked, I had like 300 some downloads, 300, I think. So I'll change the name so that it's clear. I'll try to make it, throw it up to 88 so that everybody can see it or whatever it is. That's the Twitter handle. Yeah, that's it right there.
Yep.
I'll make it so that y'all can see. And I will pin the username. And when it changes, I will go back and put it on Twitter again, and I will pin it. Because I promise you, I did not think that people would want the team that little old me designed. But since you all want it, I will make it easier for y'all, because I have been getting a lot of messages in Twitter, and I'll be honest, I try to communicate less and argue less on Twitter. That is why it is muted, because I do get in heated debates with other HBCU people. So I try to stay out of it as much as I can out of respect for my parents.
For your health, for your mental health too.
No, it's not. Look. Look, my parents, my dad told me, my dad is an attorney. Well, he's not practicing right now. My dad went to law school and he was an attorney for long. My dad told me if football didn't work, I should have been an attorney because I love to argue. So if you think, I want everybody to hear this. If you think I don't have time, I have time. I am just not doing it out of respect for Yolanda Dixon and Reginald Dixon, because they don't want me to leave a digital footprint like that. I always have time. I am learning in this adult life that there are some things you just don't say. So for you Jackson State fans that have everything to say to me and always have everything to say to me, you have it. You got it. I'm not going to argue with you. You got it. For every fan that's out there. If you want to say anything, you want to call me trash, you want to talk about what I did on the field or whatever, you have it. I am past that. Actually, I have something I would like to show everybody because we always have to end the show like this, man. We always have to end the show like this.
Go ahead.
Until your school
give it to him. Give it to him.
Until your school can do this.
Give it to him.
Don't talk to me. There's only one school in the SWAC. This is the last trash I'm gonna say. There's only one school in the SWAC to win it besides us, and I'm pretty sure it's Grambling. It wasn't Jackson. It wasn't Alcorn. It wasn't Valley. It wasn't that school down the road in Florida. Impact can talk. I'll give you that, sir. Y'all can talk because y'all won. But I want y'all to know, y'all haven't beat me and my squad ever. We beat y'all up on the field, and we beat y'all in the game.
Here we go.
And look. My father and them, my dad and my mom, they got the fan rings. So if your parent, look, for the players, if your daddy can't pull out a ring like this, or your mama can't pull out a medallion like this, please don't talk to me. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you say about Nick Dixon, you have to say champ at the end. No matter what you say, you have to say champ. And when I get my national championship ring, I'm going to hit y'all up, come on the show. I'll do a whole 360 show for y'all. I'll let y'all see it. That's all I had to say about
Nick
that's all
Dixon.
I had to say. And when it comes to this season, don't ask me anything. I'm rocking with the Rattlers every game. I have faith in the guys. I feel like they're going to repeat. I feel like we're going to go back to back. I just want everybody to know that. So before you ask or talk your trash, I got the Rattlers in Atlanta, and I'm going to go ahead and book my ticket and book my flight. I got faith like that because we got some things y'all don't know about that Twitter don't even know about. I ain't going to say it on here. I'll DM you and I'll let you know.
There you go. That's how you do it. At __ throw it up to 88 if you're interested in downloading the EA College Football 25 rosters, or if you're interested in just getting some tips on how to get going into the game, reach out to Nick. Obviously, he's posting some great content up there, and looking forward to following the season. Nick, appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, man. And we'll connect in because I know we talked about doing some things as well with the upcoming season. So I'll be in touch with you, okay?
No problem.
Great interview, Nick, man.
Y'all be
All
good.
right, Nick. Be well, man.
All right, you too.
All right. Wow.
Hey, I like Nick, but he talked a little too much trash, man. That's all right, though. Man.
Hey, he's a wide receiver, man. Wide receivers got to have that personality, right?
They do.
Wide receivers got, and he backs it up. You know, real knowledgeable guy backs it up too. All right, let's take a short break because I know we're well over time, and I know we got to get into quickly talking about the MEAC here coming up on the other side. So MEAC Media Day is tomorrow. Jamie and I are going to share some thoughts on the other side of this break. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap right here on the Black College Sports Network.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Cover's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Cover's Voice, Cover's Voice, CoversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. As we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Brian Fulford, Jamie Walker here on a Monday night. Got a shout out to Nick Dixon coming in and joining us, sharing some thoughts, giving a good product review on that EA College Football 2025. I don't even know how much that game probably cost, Jamie, like $60 or something like that, probably.
I have no earthly idea, man. I don't know the last time I played a video game. Now my kids have PlayStation 5. They do, and they are gamers. Actually, daughter and son are both gamers. Son especially, but I know how much that console costs.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a few $100, I'm sure. So yeah, good stuff there. I'm fascinated by the whole trying to organize people, trying to create a community within the game, much like, I'm a fantasy football guy, so real similar to what we do in fantasy football, where you're trying to keep up with people and trades, and you're doing it online, and I guess you gotta be active.
That's what I said about him. Like, that feels like a full-time job. Like, just trying to keep up with everything. All the dynamics that go along with that seem real tedious, but I guess once he breaks it down, I guess it's not that bad.
Yeah, I feel like you have to create a schedule, and kind of say, okay, guys, we're gonna get together and we're gonna play between like 8 and 9 o'clock on like Tuesdays and Thursdays. How's that work for everybody? And that way you kind of have that interaction going on while people are playing games against each other. If you're really taking it to the next level, you almost have to sort of be like a commissioner of sorts. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
But
I agree, just like fantasy football. Yeah,
just like fantasy football, exactly. So fascinating stuff, man. I can't wait to start seeing the game simulations of actual, because that's where we're going, right? We're going to see so whichever content provider has time to do this, and let's just say we got a matchup, Orange Blossom Classic, North Carolina Central, Alabama State. Who's going to put the matchup together and show us what that game might look like before the actual game, right? That's what we're waiting to see. That's what we're waiting to see. Okay. Coming up tomorrow, MEAC Football Media Days. Football Media Days. Delaware State, Howard, Morgan State, North Carolina Central, Norfolk State, and South Carolina State. As you can see, the list of attendees tomorrow, I believe they start at 9 a.m. tomorrow with interviews, and then the ESPN broadcast will begin around noon. This is all Eastern time. So this is taking place in Norfolk, Virginia. And I'll make one quick prediction, Jamie. I guarantee there will be people throwing shade at because it's been a big thing lately, the set and the setup.
Of course.
I mean, without a doubt, people will see whatever ESPN and the MEAC, I don't know who does the digital presentation for the MEAC, but they're going to be like, oh, look how much better it is than the SWAC. Blah, 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 blah. It's coming, Jamie. It's coming. I've seen it the last 2 years.
I'm going to let you get into I've been to both in the last few years, and there are some differences, but go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you've been. I have not. I have not been to the MEAC. So what are the differences that you've seen?
Honestly, the amount of media is not as many. Not as many. I mean, probably because it's not as many teams than the SWAC. But the media is not as prevalent as far as quantity.
There were 250. It's funny when you talk about that number. I heard Dr. McClellan say there were 250 media representatives. I don't think there were. I don't know if there was 250 different outlets or maybe just people from different outlets. But 250 was the number that he threw out there.
Yeah, it's definitely not as many by a long shot. Secondly, the way they have the media set up, I mean, even the area is not as big. They have the last time I went, it was media and interviews on one side, and then the ESPN set up on the other in another room. I guess the other thing, which is near and dear to my heart, the MEAC don't feed you, man.
Oh, jeez.
They don't feed you, man. That's as a media member going to cover, you're hungry. Sometimes. So the spread, you can't compare the spreads. Because anybody that's covered, athletics, especially live sports, hey man, spread is a huge thing, in some of these spaces. Some folks, want to take care of your media members. Some people don't. But in all seriousness, they both do a phenomenal job. in how they cover. And the entire interview, I think the SWAC actually, because you can kind of see where it's oftentimes funny how people talk about not looking at either the social media or the live coverage of a media day, and then next year the improvements come to where it's been talked about was lacking out of the previous year. So it's always funny in that way, because I think the SWAC in the extensive interviewing of coaches, I saw that in the MEAC the year before. So I think they do different stuff, and I'm glad they're getting innovative when it comes to the media coverage. So kudos to both of them. It's just a little bit different.
I will say, speaking of feeding media, shout out to John Grant and the MEAC SWAC Challenge. The spread that is I said it to him, and I'll say it here publicly. I love going to SWAC Media Day, but the highlight is going to the MEAC SWAC Challenge presser the next day, because the spread is like, whoa, it is on point. And once again, it did not disappoint. If you know, you know. If you don't, well, maybe you ought to come to the MEAC SWAC Challenge presser next year. That's all I'm going to tell you. Pro tip. Just leave it at that. I will. So that's why I enjoyed him 2 days going from Birmingham to Atlanta. I will tell him, and I told him that you were there, and I said, Mr. Grant, you guys put together a great spread. No shade to the SWAC, but I think this is another year where I even missed out on the good chicken again. Other people from the network, they got the good chicken, Jamie. Anyway,
we did.
There you go.
We did.
See, okay. Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. I'm not going to miss a meal if I can't afford it. There you go. My boy, Clay. Appreciate you jumping in, Clay. Good to see you. Okay. So MEAC, there we go. One of the things that I found interesting about this group of coaches, Jamie, I wrote this down. 6 head coaches, right? Every coach. Now we've got one brand new head coach, to the conference, but you have 6 coaches. They have all won a conference championship, whether it was in the SWAC or elsewhere. 3 of them have won multiple conference championships. Then we talk about being the coach of the year. 5 of the 6 coaches have been a coach of the year before. Think about that for a second, right? And then 3 of the 6 coaches have won an HBCU national championship, whether it be at the Division I level or at the non-Division I level, right? That's what when we talk about, and we've been doing this thing, Jamie, where we've been looking at the collection of coaches in the conferences. This is probably the most decorated group of coaches of any conference in Black college football. Regardless of record and what you might think, when we talk about credentials, this group is a heck of a group. Let's go through the teams and let's kind of go through. And what I did here, Jamie, is I tried to point out the non-conference, because the one thing in the MEAC, with there only being 6 teams, the more than half of your schedule is made up of non-conference games, right? So go ahead. Any comments about that?
No. I mean, just it just proves the kind of sprint there is to the finish when it comes to that, and just how difficult. And I had a conversation with Keisha Campbell, who is assistant athletic director at Morgan State, formerly of South Carolina State. And, I got to tell you, she said that is one of the most difficult things when it comes to scheduling, now that there are that amount of teams left, is actually putting together a full football schedule.
Yeah. So when you look at these non-conferences, you'll see a mix of FCS, maybe even some non-FCS like Division II, or I don't even whatever you categorize VUL as. And then you'll see some FBS in here as well, because some of these schools are trying this year, in a year where you can have 12 games, that opens you to 7, or if you stick to your normal 11-game schedule, that's 6. So you talk about the challenges that come with that. All right, so here we go. Delaware State first up. Last year, 1-10, winless in conference. It's the second year under Lee Hull, his 4th overall. And you may say, who is Lee Hull? Well, Lee Hull is actually a conference MEAC Coach of the Year and helped lead Morgan State, I believe, to Morgan State's last conference championship, which was 2014. So it's been 10 years. So a lot of people are excited about Morgan State this year. Well, it's been 10 years since Morgan State has won a championship. And maybe Lee Hull he's got a tall task on his hand trying to turn around this Delaware State team. And you can look at that non-conference schedule. They start with a game at Hawaii on August 24th. Their toughest game, really, the only game in the non-conference where they play a team who had a winning record last year, Richmond, on September 21st. Everybody else, though, below 500. And you see they got a couple of FCS. Really, that's all FC outside of Hawaii. All the rest of that schedule is all FCS opponents from either the NEC or the CAA. Yeah, I think that's right. NEC or CAA. Yeah. Now, Jamie, I like to do over-unders here. Delaware State last year, 1-10. The BCSN line for over-under wins was 2.5 last year. It went under. If I go and look, Jamie, you know what you picked last year for Del State. You actually
what did I say?
You picked them to go under last year.
Oh, okay.
So you hit that. You hit that. What's your? I'm going to set the line again at 2.5 wins for Del State. Did Del State go over or under 2.5?
I'm going to say under again. Robert Morris might be one that they get. I'm not looking. I'm not sure what Campbell's going to look like. That's a coaching change. Wow. Yeah, I don't see many. I just don't. Now, give credit to the school itself and what they're putting. They're infusing some money and some resources into the football program. They are. But I'm not sure if they're there yet. So I'm going to say under, unfortunately.
Okay. I'm going to say under as well. I'm right there with you. I think there's two. They say there's 2 in a possible. I don't show me the possible. I'll just leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that. Tough job for Coach Hull, but it may take him a couple years here in year 2 of getting this program to where they want it to be. And like you said, if they do infuse some money into it, maybe. All right. Next up, Howard Bison. Howard Bison, 6-6 a year ago, 4-1 in conference play. Of course, under Larry Scott, it's his 5th year going into this fall. His 6th overall at Howard, of course, one of those years being a COVID year. He's 14-22 overall at Howard, 9-8 in conference play. In his career, 24-26 is his career record. Of course, Howard won the I guess they won the outright title last year, going to the Celebration Bowl. They were co-champs the year before. Under Scott, though, Jamie, last year was the first year that they actually finished a regular season above 500. First time. And you look at the non-conference schedule there. They opened the season against the Rutgers of the Big Ten. You can see they've got some matchups there against Morehouse. That game is the NYC Classic in East Rutherford, New Jersey. They play Hampton, and then they host Tennessee State for homecoming. What's your thoughts on Coach Scott and Howard and where they're progressing, where they're trending?
Trending upward. I think they won, nearly beat Northwestern last year. In really a comeback game. Almost pulled off that monumental upset. Like Coach Scott a lot. Because he's no nonsense, confident coach who, with that running game that they have, if they can get anything out of the passing game, and I think they will. I actually think they will improve at the quarterback position. Now, Quentin Williams, longtime starter at that position, and had his ups and downs. If they can get a really good passer, they got one. And like I said, we all waiting for these rosters to calm down. But Zach Yeager from North Carolina A&T is up there. I'm not sure who's slated to start in that position, but we'll see if they can get just some balance out of that position with that running game with Eden James and company. Watch out.
Howard's an interesting team. From a predictive statistical standpoint, right? I went back and looked. Howard was actually predicted to finish 6-5 last year. They did that. 6-5 regular season record, right? We set the BCSN line at 5.5. They went over that number. Just so you know, let's see. Jamie, what did you do last year?
Probably
Jamie,
under.
No, you went over. Both you and I
did.
Over.
Okay.
Yeah, both you and I were
okay.
over 5.5 last year. So we got that right. Now, this year though, the numbers, the analytics are more in favor of Howard this year. I'm going to set the line at 7.5 wins. 7.5 wins. A little bit more this year, but the computer really likes Howard this year in 3/4 of their games this season. So I'm gonna be a little conservative with it. I'm gonna set the line at 7.5. Does Howard go over or under 7.5 wins this year?
I'm gonna say under.
Ooh.
Not by much, but it'll be under.
Jamie's going under. I'm going over. It may just be right at 8, but I just think what I always say, Jamie, is outside of the Rutgers game and maybe that Princeton game, but man, if Howard can win 1, 2, 3, 4, if they can win those 5, if they can win 5 of these 7 non-conference games, I feel like they're a definite player, even if going 3-2 in conference play. I mean, that brings them, that's only 7. What is that? Like 5 + 3. No, that's 8. So there's 8 right there. So I'm kind of, I don't know. You 7.5 is such a strong line, but you may be right. They may end up at 7-5, but I think this might be a breakthrough year for Howard. So I'm gonna be a little more on the optimistic side. So I'm gonna go Oppo U on this one. All right.
Okay.
Morgan State. Here's a program everybody's excited about. Last year they went 4-6, 3-2 in conference play. This is the 3rd year for Coach Damon Wilson. Of course, it's his 15th season overall. As you can see in his 2 years at Morgan, he's gone 8-13, 5-5 in conference play. Of course, 97-58 is the career record. Real close to win number 100. 2-time HBCU national champion, 3-time CIAA champion, 3-time coach of the year. You can see Morgan State, they've got 7 non-conference games. They got that Virginia Union Lynchburg game, so there's at least 1 win. What are your thoughts? And they got a winless team on there. They got a team who went winless last year, Jamie. What's your thoughts on Morgan, and is this the year that Damon Wilson in year 3 gets it done?
I think it is. Well, let me rephrase, man. I think this is a year that a winning record should be
okay.
At least 500 should be there.
I agree.
Absolutely. it's no secret. You can see the potential in this squad and what they've been able to do. They play hard. They're going to give you their best every game, but they got to get offense. They got to get something out of the quarterback position. And if they can match that defense, and that defense never makes any excuses, but if they get anything out of their offense, I think they'll be right up there in the thick of things. I think they'll be right in contention for the conference championship, and I think a 7 to 8 win season is right in their grasp.
Now, funny thing, a year ago, Morgan State, by our analytics, they were predicted to go 1-9-1. They finished 4-6. We set the BCSN line at 3.5. It obviously it went over by the half game. You and I both picked over a year ago. All right, both you and I went over 3.5. We hit that. This year, though, Jamie, I'm a little more bullish on the Morgan State record. I'm setting the line at 6.5 this year. You talked about 500. Well, I'm setting the line at 6.5. So essentially, do you think Morgan State finishes with a better than 500 record this year, or
yes,
right at or less?
I think they do. I think they I think they go over.
You go over. Man, this is hard because these are. I'm gonna tell you the games that are, I think, coin tosses, and it may sound weird to say. Hampton, Towson, coin toss games, I think. Not expecting them to beat Ohio. Of course, they'll get a win against VU, Lynchburg. They should beat Lincoln, PA. Should beat Merrimack College. Then you get into conference play, and it's like, are they look, they're 3-2. Are they a 3-2 again or 2-3? So I'm going to shade to the under. I'm going to say if Morgan goes 6-6, it's still an improvement, right? One of the things I looked up, when you go and look at Coach Wilson's career, when he first started at Bowie, everyone remembers the last half of his career at Bowie. The first half of his career, his teams were right at about 500. It took a few years for him to really turn that culture and program around to where they became 9, 10, 11, 12 win seasons, right? So I think people are jumping on the Morgan State bus a little too early and looking at dominance. I mean, so I'm going to show a little caution at 6.5, and I'm going to shade it to the under. I'm going to go under. So Jamie's going over. There's our first, our second difference. 2 in a row here. 2 in a row for us. Okay. Interesting debate here. I don't know. When you real quick, when you look at the non-conference, it's hard to really look at non-conferences of MEAC versus SWAC because the MEAC has to play twice as many non-conference games, right?
Yeah. And it always looks skewed just based on who they have to play. Because you could get, I'm not gonna say if you get a bunch of cupcakes. It's hard to schedule. It's
more regionally based. Too, I think it's more regionally based. Look, they're playing teams out of the NEC, the CAA. Who else is up there? Who else did we say? NEC, CAA. There's somebody else. Another.
They're playing Big South.
Big South, yeah. So they're not really playing a lot of the FCS conferences in the southern region. They're playing more of those teams in the Northeast, or at least for the upper half of the conference. So I think it. And then, like you said, Russell Hayes said a 5-7 team beat any SWAC team in celebration. I don't see that happening. Did that happen? Did South Carolina State do that? Stop it. Let me keep moving.
See you later.
Norfolk State, next up on the block. The Spartans under Dawson Odoms went 3-8 last year, 1-4 in conference play. It's the fourth year under Coach Odoms. It's time for, after a real good first season, 2 subpar seasons, this will be an interesting fourth year for Coach Odoms. Of course, it's his 14th overall, his third coaching stop. As you can see at Norfolk State, 11-23 overall, 5-10 in conference play, 75-64 career win. He's a conference champion and a coach of the year in his 9 years at Southern. Trivia question, Jamie. Do you know where Dawson Odoms was before he was the head coach at Southern? Do you know where his first head coaching job was?
Wasn't he at Clark?
He was. Yeah, there you go.
Clark Atlanta. Yeah.
He was at Clark for a season. Yeah. So, okay. Non-conference schedule you can see for Norfolk State starts right there. MEAC SWAC Challenge against FAMU. Then they play an East Carolina team that went 2-10. Then we talked about that challenging Virginia State game. Division II opponent. My God, you lost to a Division II team last year. What's in store for you this year? Then you've got Hampton, Virginia Military, then Sacred Heart, and then Towson. Jamie, your thoughts on Norfolk State?
I think they'll be improved. I don't know if I'm a prisoner of the moment when it comes to the presser, but finding out some information about him, except for the quarterback position, which he says is some healthy competition. They return a lot of starters. I think 18 or 19. And so when you're talking about that squad that played hard and lost a lot of close games last year, I think they'll be right in the thick of things. They'll be an improved squad. I'll tell you what, I think one of these squads are the only ones we were kind of down on. So, I mean, the MEAC is tough in general, but you know, one of these teams gotta suffer the brunt of getting beat, and not just Dale State. So, you know, I think Norfolk State will be an improved squad as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, A&T Roy. I can tell you that Otto Coons is back at Norfolk State. Coach? I was one of the questions I actually asked Coach Odoms at the press conference about Coons and former Florida A&M transfer. I can't think of the kid's name now. But anyway, the two guys who are battling for the position are Coons and the young man who transferred from Florida A&M. A&T Roy says Norfolk State's got the most experienced team in the MEAC. That's interesting. That we'll see how that plays out. So this may shock you though, Jamie. The last year, of course, Norfolk State predicted to go 2-8-1. I set the BCS line at 3.5. They didn't hit that mark. In terms of you and I from a year ago, we both went under 3.5 and we were both right. Crazy as that sounds. Now, new year, I'm still setting the line at 3.5 though, Jamie. I don't know. I'm still setting it at 3.5 based on the information, what the data tells me, what the analytics. So are you bullish on Norfolk State this year and all that experience? I'm setting a low number probably. Can they go over 3.5?
I'm gonna go over. I think they can.
Yeah, I do too. I selected over as well. Yeah. All right, so we'll see. They win 5 games and we're good, Jamie. So I mean, you know, that's positive. So you know, it's not far to go. So the question is, can you avoid that D2 upset? That's where I think that whole season lies right there. As crazy as it sounds, September 7th is going to be a real interesting game for Norfolk State, in my opinion. All right, the North Carolina Central Eagles, 9-3 a year ago, 4-1 in conference play. Missed out on going to the Celebration Bowl, though, but they did go to the NCAA playoffs. It's the sixth season for Coach Trey Oliver, and of course, this is his, first coaching job. So you can see he's 29-18 in his career there, 15-8 overall. Won an HBCU national title, a pair of MEAC championships, Coach of the Year award as well. Now it's interesting. Central is not taking advantage of the opportunity to play 12 games. They only have 6 non-conference games, as you can see. That game, and they've got, when I did a search into who has the toughest schedule in the MEAC, Jamie, North Carolina Central came up number 1. And I think, I hate to say it, with all due respect to the A&T team, is probably based on what you see there. You see they played a good Alabama State team. Elon was just over 500. Of course, they're playing this year the University of North Carolina. The Aggies, that should be that's always a tough rivalry. Campbell, and then VU Lynchburg. So what's your take on North Carolina Central? Can they match the success of a year ago?
It really depends on what Walker Harris does. And I know I'm always talking offensive football a lot of the times, even though I think that defense is loaded as well. But it really just depends on what they get out of the quarterback position, along with them just, retaining talent. I think this would be the first year without, Davius Richard, who was, just a man amongst boys, and kept them out of a lot of crazy situations. And he was able to always lead that team. So it'll be a little different this year, but I think they'll look a little different in general. I think they're going to throw the ball a little more. So we'll see how that goes. But it's hard for me to say they'll take a step back. I hope they do against North Carolina A&T, of course. But otherwise, I just think that September 1st game against Alabama State will do a lot to say what this team will be going forward. But if they can stay away from the injury bug, they'll be right up there in the thick of things. MEAC is just incredibly tough. So I'm going to say their record won't be as good as it was last year, but will still be well above 500.
I'm thinking in the same with you. Last year they were predicted to go 7-4. I set the BCS line at 8-5 because I thought even with Davius Richard that was going to be a team that could win 9 or maybe 10 games. They could have easily won 10 games last year, and I think I set it at 8.5. It obviously went over. This is where it's funny. You and I both went under 8.5 last year. We both went under 8.5 and lost that one, obviously. This year, I'm bringing the number down, Jamie. I'm bringing it down to 7.5. 7.5 is the win total I'm putting North Carolina Central at. Do they go over or under? And remember, they only play 11 games this year.
I'm going to go under. Yeah, I'm going to go under.
I went under as well. I'm thinking a 7-4 season is a good season. It's an over 500 season. It's just not 9-3 like what they had a year ago. I think there's going to be a few. I think there's going to be a couple of stumbling blocks there early on. Like you said, I think that Alabama State game might be a stumbling block for them. And then I would not be surprised if you guys actually give them more competition than maybe they hoped for this season. So
I think we'll be well improved. I think we'll be improved. I do think, I think we'll be improved.
All right. So I set the number at 7.5. Both Jamie and I are in agreement going under the number of 7.5. Last team in the MEAC this year, South Carolina State Bulldogs. 5-6 last year, 3-2. Of course, that was the last year of Buddy Pugh. Enter Coach Chennis Berry in his first year at South Carolina State. His 5th overall, actually. Of course, there was a COVID year. He spent 3 seasons at Benedict. What an amazing career, 27-7 in 3 full seasons, won 2 HBCU national titles, was the D2 Region 2 Coach of the Year last year. Now he's at the Bulldogs. And if you believe in Barry Magic, then you got to believe this is going to carry over. Now, South Carolina State also only plays 11 games this season instead of the 12. And you can see they open their season against Florida A&M on the road, and then they got a pair of teams in the Citadel and North Carolina A&T that won 1 game in between them. So they go from the highs of a 12-win team to the lows of a pair of near winless or winless teams. What do you make of South Carolina State's schedule and the opportunities this year for you?
Well, I love Coach Barry, covering him the last couple of years at Benedict. You know I love his passion for the games, passion for just creating good young men. But what I'll say is he's stepping up in class when it comes to the division. And what I mean by that is a lot of athletes on that Division I level, the FCS level. And I think he brought a lot of players from Benedict with him to South Carolina State. So I think the continuity is there for him to have a successful season. Now, will it be as good as he is accustomed to? I'm not sure yet. I think they are working towards something great. I just don't know if it'll happen this year because it's not as easy as just simply jumping up there. It's about building a culture. And I think he's instilling a lot of what he did at Benedict. So I'm not sure if year 1 is the one that people will kind of get. So I don't think, it's a lot of hype, a lot of notoriety, and a lot of stuff going on as far as just his arrival and what he's done since being there. You can follow it and kind of see the development of it, but I'm not sure record-wise does it give you what you need. So right at 500 or below.
When I look at this non-conference schedule, I look at a team going 3-3. I really do. I feel like this is a team that win a game, lose a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game, win a game. I feel like the beginning of the season could be that way for them. And, obviously there's familiarity with Fort Valley, playing Fort Valley State that Coach Barry has. I believe in the coaching. Now, I just believe, like I said, I know it's going to be a year for him to get his players. This is a tough one, Jamie. When I look at the number here, a year ago, of course, under Buddy Pugh, we set the line at 5.5. And you can see where right at 5 and 6, you and I thought it would go over 5.5, maybe shaded. Probably we were thinking it would go the 6 and 5 route, maybe 7 and 4. They finished under that. This year, I'm keeping the line the same, 5.5. First year for Chinnis Berry. What do you said right around 500? So do you think it's a game over 500 or a game under 500 this year?
I think it's a game. Wow. I'm looking at the non-conference record. I'm going to give him a game over. Now, I don't know who he you
know who he's going to catch.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it's not my squad.
It's not that game on September 28th, right?
Yeah, but this is hard. I could literally flip a coin. But I think it's right at the cusp.
I agree with you. I think it's right on the line. 5.5 is I feel it's such a cowardly number that I put out there because it is like a 50-50 shot. You're saying, do they go a game over 500 or a game under? You're going a game over. I'm going to go a game under. I'm going to go another 5-6 season, but I think a 5-6 season. And look, 5-6 can come in many different forms, Jamie. Right? 5-6 and a 4-1 conference record. You're flirting around with Celebration Bowl berth at that point, right?
See, that's the thing. You know, the confusion, not even confusion. It just is how the MEAC is right now. South Carolina State was 5-6 when they went into the Celebration Bowl.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, because this always is a subject of banter. But I think with the non-conference schedule of the MEAC, typically, I think that makes them battle tested for the Celebration Bowl a lot of the times. And we may not want to talk about record per se, or not record, but schedule per se. But depending on who you have to schedule, you know, you're getting a lot of good FCS competition if you do it right. Morgan State over the last couple of years, Howard as well, North Carolina Central as well. Matter of fact, so much so before that Howard game, hey, they were shooting people talking about, hey, I don't know if I want to see the Celebration Bowl. You know, hey, I maybe like to see them in the playoffs just because of, you know, that team's makeup. But, you know, that's why they play the game. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward. It just really depends on what the schedule is or how they play the schedule.
Yeah. First years are challenging. And I think, you know, at first year, you're looking for culture changes. Obviously, they're bringing in a quarterback that's familiar with Coach Berry, but I think that's kind of a 1-year stopgap. I don't think that's the quarterback of the future. You know, and so we'll see. We'll see how the transition goes. But I believe in Chennis Berry, and I think the process and his way of doing things will translate into success for South Carolina State. I just don't know if it's in year 1. So I'm going to go under at 5-6. Won't be mad if you hit at 6-5, or hell, if it goes 7. But I think that's the ceiling, I think. And hell, if they hit 7, watch out, because that means they might have won more games in the MEAC than people thought. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Jamie. Well, man, hey, I appreciate you jumping in tonight with me. The last little bit of news I think that we saw come across the HBCU waves, and that came out earlier today, was this little nugget, man, that CBS Sports revealed that they are doing a CBS Sports Classic HBCU showcase, a basketball doubleheader featuring North Carolina Central versus North Carolina A&T. Wow. And then you got Howard versus Hampton. That game is going to be played at Hampton's arena. It's called the Convocation Center in Hampton, Virginia. What's that rivalry like, Jamie, between Central and A&T on the basketball court?
Even worse than the football field. Like, I think what people really don't know, and I guess the football success may have been, you know, I guess doesn't give the best light to the basketball, but the basketball is even worse. You get the, you go to Durham or you get into Corbett, it's ugly, man. Like the basketball rivalry, I would say, tops the football. It just is, because the team's either up or down. So but you get all that hate up in one building. And then of course the Howard and Hampton game from last year, you saw what went on there, man. So I think I tell you what, I love this, and it'll be on display on CBS. So I love it.
Yeah, definitely. Doubleheader going on, 2 Eastern, is the first game, and then followed up by 4 p.m. So a doubleheader basketball. And this is kind of where college basketball seems to be going with these television events. You see it happening at the power levels, the non-mid-major, and you know, kind of go in there. I'm still trying to get my women's basketball event like this. Like, give me Norfolk State. Well, I would say Jackson State back in the day when it was Coach Reed, but you know, give me, you know, Hampton, or not Hampton, but give me Howard, give me A&T, give me Norfolk State, and give me Grambling. Give me those 4 women's basketball teams. That's who I want to see. I don't care how you put them together. Obviously, you know, you're not going to put Norfolk State and Howard together, but you know, can I get a A&T versus Howard, and maybe Grambling versus Norfolk State? Can I get that matchup, please? Somebody, can I get that matchup?
Hey, somebody's gonna put it together, but I think there's some phenomenal, you know, the Chris Pauls and the and those out there that actually know the region and know the rivalries. Hey, I think it can happen, man. I think it can happen because you know, football, we all love it. We eat it up. But quite honestly, the basketball is where it's at. And when you're talking about even, I mean, both conferences, you know, MEAC, you know, for some, you know, is the basketball conference, but the SWAC more than held its own last year. And I tell you what, probably got a lot of notoriety, especially going into the NCAA tournament. So look, let's make it happen. Let's definitely make it happen.
We've done a SIAC and CIAA deep dive. We did the SIAC probably like 2 weeks ago, maybe even a week ago. CIAA, you know, we just kind of went on. You know, I don't know what more you want from us. Obviously, I'm working on Chris Ferguson joining us in maybe next week or the week after. You know, so when we go deep dive with the CIAA, that's when we'll talk.
Yeah, he is definitely your man. Chris Ferguson.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't consider us a SWAC podcast. I don't know. Jamie, we try to, on this show, we try to cover the entire diaspora, don't we? I think we try.
We try. We try to. It just, you know, sometimes it just sways one way or another. Not on this show. Now, you know, ONG Strike Zone.
Oh yeah.
You know, you're gonna cover
SWAC.
You know, that's a FAMU podcast.
Yeah.
You know, I understand everything else, but you're gonna bring on the experts of like even the guests are gonna be a certain way. You know, I cover SIAC ball, even though I'm an A&T graduate and love A&T ball. You know, I announced for the
SIAC for D2 football, and he's heavy into the SIAC. I mean, nobody. Yeah. You show me somebody out there that talks about the SIAC and non-Division I the way AD does. I mean, there's very few people out there. So, you know,
I agree.
It's hard. It's hard though, especially like I said, we only try to we only get once a week, and so when we try to mix it up and go with the hot topics. So we do our best. But you know, hit us up on Twitter. You got some ideas or some things that we want to do. I'm gonna be putting together over and unders for the other conferences in the next couple of weeks. So be on the lookout for that. So Jamie, you and I are in agreement with the under 2.5 for Delaware State. We are in agreement on over 3.5 for Norfolk State. And we are in agreement under 7.5 for North Carolina Central. We are oppo on Howard, 7.5. I say Howard goes over 7.5. You say under 7.5. We're opposite on Morgan State. Jamie says they're going over 6.5. I say under 6.5. And then, of course, South Carolina State, Jamie says over 5.5. I've got under 5.5. So we'll publish all those, put a nice little graphic together a little bit later on in the show. Jamie, man, can't thank you enough for your time. let people know any final thoughts or words you want to share with people tonight.
No, man. Hey, it's football time. It's time to strap it up. Let's go. It's time to buckle the chin straps, put in your mouthpiece. Let's get it.
Well said. Want to remind everybody, thank everybody. Hit the thumbs up or the like button wherever and however you're watching the show, especially if it's on YouTube or Facebook. Thank you for watching on Instagram and X. If you missed any parts of the show, or maybe you like podcasts, or you're a podcast listener, go download the BCSN Pod Zone. Everywhere you listen to podcasts, that's on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. Just download it, subscribe, rate and review, helps out the algorithms. It's all appreciated. It all helps the content continue to grow in the HBCU diaspora. So again, thanks to Nicholas Dixon, for coming on and joining us, talk about the EA College Football 2025 game. AD Drew says he'll be back on Sunday if he's not traveling somewhere. And I know Jamie's getting back into school mode, so he's got the kids starting back on next Monday. So Jamie, God bless you, man. I'll be on the journey with you pretty soon.
Thank you, sir. Thoughts and prayers.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching tonight's show. Be well. God bless you. Stay safe the rest of this week. Don't forget, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Black College Sports Network. For Jamie Walker, I'm Bryan Fulford. Peace out, everybody.